Sorry, I messed up the end there for a second. Welcome back. I know it's been a while. So, I had this, Pearl Davis, Just Pearly Things, stream planned. And, then I realized I have a lot of, about, like, I don't know, anyways, it doesn't matter. I have all these videos of Pearl that I was gonna actually make, like, a video about, not on a live stream. So I figured instead we'd go over them on a live. We're not going to do that tonight, but we're going to do that. I'm going to collect all my little clips and videos, and we're going to have a Pearl stream coming up. That'll probably be the next stream. So, but while I'm preparing that, I saw a video the other day. I didn't finish it, but I thought it was kind of interesting, and it has to do, you know, it's like in the whole politics genre, which is kind of big right now with the upcoming election and such. So I thought we could go over that and argue about that tonight instead. So I thought that would be fun. It's a Jubilee video. Let me bring it up. There it is. This guy, Charlie Kirk. It's called Can 25 Liberal College Students Outsmart One Conservative, aka Charlie Kirk? So from what I've seen of this, I thought it was kind of interesting. So we're going to go over that tonight. I just got off of another panel from Wick TV's channel, and we were debating about females invading male spaces. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm just gonna play this from the beginning, I guess. Let's see. Unmute desktop. Yeah. I'm really excited for this Pearl video, though. It's going to be good, so stay tuned. I have a lot of dirt on Pearl. I should have made this video a long time ago, but it's just going to be easier to go over on a live stream, I guess. Then maybe I can cut it up and make that into a video. We'll see. Here we go.
Do you think men can give birth?
I think that...
yes or no question?
Oh, okay, this is a little intro. Here we go.
Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA.
I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking.
Want to say it one more time?
No, I'm speaking.
Hello, everyone. I am Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, and I am surrounded by 20 woke college kids. My first prompt is, abortion is murder and should be illegal.
Spicy. Okay, yeah, so I don't know if you just read that, but basically he comes up with all the prompts, and then all the liberal students have to race to the chair to get to debate him. And then if enough people raise their flags, then the person debating Charlie Kirk is kicked out, and then somebody else gets the opportunity to race to the chair. So that's kind of how this works.
All right.
Can I maybe go?
Okay, hello, what's your
Hi,
name?
Juliana.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Can
you.
we get our terms right first?
Yeah.
Okay, abortion is the forcible ending of the viability of a being in utero, otherwise known as a fetus. Do we agree that's what abortion is?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, great. And then murder is the intentional taking of life, different than killing or sudden death. So murder would be the intent, with intent, taking another life. Do we agree with that?
Okay,
Okay, and then we agree that murder in general in society should be illegal.
yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, no, I do want to preface that I'm a Catholic.
Okay.
So I think one really important thing that the Bible says is to not judge. And just going back to the topic, I I think there's a big difference between, cells in utero than a living, breathing, existing being. And while I do believe it's murder, and that's just my personal belief, right? I don't believe in telling people what to do with their bodies. That's not up to me, and it's not up to us as well as Christians to judge.
Should we prevent murder in society?
For sure, yeah.
Then it should be illegal.
But I think that it's really different, right? Because, these people aren't.
Okay, so she's been voted out already. And I actually think she had a pretty fair take. If you want to believe that abortion is murder, I think that's fine. But I also think that you can say it's murder. But I also think it's pretty clear that it's a completely different category than murdering somebody who's already out of the womb, separate from their mother's body and living and breathing and has their own full autonomy. So I think it's just like oversimplifying it by saying like abortion is murder and murder should be illegal. I think a main argument for my like abortion argument is just that like we're not forcing anybody to get an abortion. If you don't want an abortion, you don't have to get one. And I just think most people can recognize the difference between abortion and murder. But I guess a lot of people don't actually recognize that. But anyways, shall we continue?
Sorry, nice to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Okay, what's your name?
Naima.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, can I just ask, at how many weeks do you think that a fetus is viable?
Well, viability and moral worth are two different things.
No, but I'm asking you, at how many weeks do you think a fetus is viable?
Well, at about 20 weeks, a baby can survive outside of utero.
So it's actually 24 to 26
Well, it's
weeks?
20. The youngest ever in a NICU unit actually happened in San Diego, not far from here, and survived at 20 weeks.
Okay, so under Roe v. Wade, 93% of abortions...
That is like such a small percentage, though. That is like so rare for a 20-week-old baby to be able to survive on its own. But
abortions happened in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy.
hold on, what is this? Fact check. In 2020, 93% of abortions happen in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy. Viability occurs at 24 weeks. I don't know why it's a fact check. That's exactly what she said. But
That's 93% of the abortions happened well before a fetus is technically viable
For
as
sure.
a form
so
of life.
Let's go into viability. So what is it about, let's say, a 6-week baby that has a heartbeat, its own DNA, fingerprint, brain waves, that is less moral worth than an 88-year-old right now with dementia in a home down...
sorry, I'm pausing a lot already. Moral worth? I don't know if that has much like weight in this argument, because when it comes to abortion, people aren't getting abortions because of morality. They're getting abortions for like other reasons, usually having to do with like pragmatic reasons, right? So I don't know if arguing the moral worth is like holds that much weight in the argument.
On the street, that person requires assistance, requires help. Why is it that the 6-week baby is of less moral worth?
Well, first of all, it's not a baby, it's a fetus.
Well, what does fetus mean?
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the f? I'm sorry, is this
It means little human being.
Ooh, his smile is very creepy. Okay,
Smiling is creepy.
no, your smile specifically.
Got it,
But
thank you.
let's go
Okay, that was
back
rude.
to,
So-
we're losing track here.
No, but is what species is the fetus?
It was
The
a little
fetus
rude.
is not a species yet. It's technically classified as a parasite
No.
until it is
wow.
viable.
So,
no, I want to
well,
talk to you
hold
about
on,
something very
I
quickly.
can't let you get past that. Are you
I'm sorry.
saying a baby is a disease or a tumor?
A parasite is not a disease and a tumor. Those are not the same thing. A
Oh,
parasite
parasites.
is defined as something that cannot survive outside of its host. A baby, before it is viable, cannot survive outside of a woman's womb.
Got it. So let's
Therefore,
extrapolate that.
It is not a living organism.
Are old people with Alzheimer's and dementia that are being assisted every day, are they parasites?
No, they're not parasites. They're human beings who are on the brink of death.
Got it. So
they're not going to be able to survive.
My 4-month-old that requires mom's breast milk and requires daily changes and feedings cannot survive without its own. Is my 4-month-old a parasite?
Your baby can breathe on its own. Your baby can drink water from its mouth to its
body
stomach.
functions.
But it cannot,
Your baby can eat
Can it hunt?
food.
Can it gather? Can it reason?
But that's not what qualifies something as being a living organism. Being a living organism simply means, can you survive outside of a womb, outside of your host?
Can your body function on its own outside of its host? I think is a better way to put that.
Got it. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. Why does that then equate to moral viability?
It equates to scientific viability.
Why? Under what standard?
Because it is not alive, and you are advocating for the rights of something that is not technically a life.
Got it. So what is something that has...
See, the thing with abortion is, like, we can say abortion is wrong, right? Like, we could say, because again, nobody wants to get an abortion. As much as, like, some conservatives like to argue that all these women are using abortion as birth control, they're not. And this is in the numbers. This is in the data. Like 89% of women getting an abortion are getting their first abortion, and the majority of those women getting their first abortion already have children. And then it's less than 11% of women going to get an abortion are going for their second or more. And like an overwhelming majority of those women already have children. So we could say like women aren't going to get an abortion because they think it's like a moral, or they're not going to get an abortion because they don't think it's immoral. It's because they have to, in a sense. Like, it's a better outcome for themselves and their family, their already existing family. In most cases, that's what women who are getting abortions are getting it for. And many of those women who get abortions still mourn the loss of that child. I think the Destiny versus Trent Horn debate on abortion is the most valuable debate on the topic. I wholeheartedly disagree with a lot of your takes. It would get contentious if I opened my yap on a lot of things. No, I understand you disagree with a lot of the takes. And abortion is a difficult topic. I have watched that Trent Horn Destiny debate. Maybe we could watch that on stream sometime. Abortion is just such a difficult topic because, like, nobody's going to change their mind. Either, like, you're set, most people are just, like, set in what they believe. I guess some people can be persuaded one way or another ultimately, but, like, it's pretty hard because a lot of it just comes down to values, I guess, and ultimate, like, core beliefs. But yeah, the reason I'm pro-choice is just because I believe that making abortion illegal is going to lead to a lot more child abuse, child neglect, and even more overwhelmed foster care system. And you're forcing parents who don't want children to have children, or can't afford them or shouldn't have children to have them. And we can say, like, oh, well, we need to hold people accountable, but should we be doing that with the lives of children? Like, holding somebody accountable is forcing somebody who maybe shouldn't or can't take care of a child to take care of a child. And ultimately, the child is, like, a child should not be used for accountability. I don't know. The amount of child abuse and child neglect we already have in the country, with Child Protective Services. Their cases are so overloaded and overwhelmed already. I also think there's a lot of other reasons, just like safety reasons with domestic violence. And then, of course, there's the exceptional cases like rape and incest. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'm fine with abortion for rape and incest victims. How are we going to prove that they were raped or that they are a victim of rape or incest, especially within a 24-week or less period? Lots of times it's impossible to prove that. And lots of times, even if a rape kit can prove that a woman's been raped, the results won't get back within 24 weeks. It usually takes a couple months minimum. So I just don't agree with that.
Sacrificing the needs of the human woman who is alive.
Got it. So, but a mom can survive without the baby in her. Right?
Yes.
The baby cannot survive without the mom.
Yes.
But a mom cannot survive without her lungs. So it's not her body, it's in her body. It's not her DNA, so it's not her choice. So it's
It actually is directly her DNA. It is 100%. It's 50% of her DNA.
Half her DNA. He's gonna win, I'm telling you. This could take a while.
Okay, first of all,
do we have our terms correct? We agree?
Actually, no. So first of all, I would like to refine our terms. I have 2 points to bring up after that, though. So you define murder as like intentionally like killing a human being. I think that's a very poor way to define murder, because if someone were to like break into my home and point a gun at the heads of me and everybody I love, and I intentionally kill them to prevent them from killing my family, I don't think I murdered them, right? So I would define murder as the unjustified termination of a human life.
You're making a good point. Let me further clarify that. So self-defense is very warranted.
Exactly, right?
But I can see where you're going to go with how that has to go with abortion, but we can go down that journey in a second.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I kind of do want to give you my argument insofar as why I'm pro-choice, why I think it's justified. But first, I think that, you know, your position is quite absurd, right? Because you're saying that it is murder to kill a human being, right, at any point in development, especially when it's in the mother's womb. My question to you would be, well, does this make women with IUDs murderers? Because it is the case that in some scenarios, an IUD will allow for conception to occur, meaning there's a unique human life there, but it will prevent its implantation, intentionally killing it.
Well, no, preventing implantation is not necessarily the same thing as terminating a fertilized egg. For example, if you take Plan B, again, it's not the same thing. Preventing the production of progesterone is not the same thing as terminating a being that has been fertilized. You do not know for a fact that the egg has been fertilized. You do not know that when you have an IUD.
Okay, yeah, so preventing a fertilization or implantation to the uterine lining is killing a conceived zygote. So what happens? A sperm goes into the egg, right? The egg becomes fertilized. It's a conceived zygote. In some cases, it will prevent the implantation of the conceived zygote, killing the conceived zygote.
In some cases, correct.
So what do you say in some cases, women with IUDs are murderers?
Of course not, they're not murderers. We do not know for a case. That's like saying that
So what's the difference between an IUD killing a conceived zygote and like a mother going to Planned Parenthood and killing the fetus in her womb?
Well, so you're asking two separate things. If they knew for certain, to be more clear, that I have a fertilized egg and I'm going to take a drug to prevent that fertilized egg from attaching to their uterine wall, then yes, that is an act of killing or murder, of course.
Okay, so do you think all murderers should go to jail?
Do I think all murderers should go to jail? I mean, on third degree murder. However, no, I don't think women that got abortions or had IUDs should go to jail, because I think that they have been deceived by mass culture and mass propaganda. Secondly, the people who should go to jail are the abortionists who
a woman getting an abortion, what is she being deceived by? The fact that she doesn't have the finances to take care of it, she doesn't have her life in order, or, you know, some other situation. Like, women aren't having abortions because they're like, abortions are cool. I just don't understand this argument that I hear all the time, that it's like this like feminist talking, like getting an abortion is like a feminist thing, like feminism. Feminists just love getting abortions or something. I just don't understand that.
The ones that have been putting the abortion pill, the ones that have been doing procedures, the ones that have been going into the third trimester and breaking babies' backs and inserting them with syringes while the babies are crying and suffocating, being born alive, and then being dead on the operating table. Okay. That is who should go to jail.
Oh.
That was actually the best point somebody made.
We'll have to talk about it.
Oh, that was cute. That was the best point somebody made.
Okay, whenever I'm talking about this discussion, I always go to the question of what about in the case of the mother when her life is in danger? Because I'm a big believer. I don't know. I'm still iffy on if I think it's or if it's murder or not. But even so, I mean, I don't want to say murder is justified. Guys, wait. Let me just get this one point, and then you can vote me out. Give me 1 second. Say the mother gets pregnant, and she knows that if she gives birth, she's gonna die. She has some kind of health complication. Then what do you do in that case?
Section.
I don't know what that means.
It's a C-section. They do an insert.
Guys, wait, hold on. Just give me one second.
They go right below the belly button, and they deliver the baby. And therefore, she doesn't have to give birth. It's technically birth, but it's much safer. So that's actually safer than an abortion procedure. Sorry, Lily. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
What's your name?
Deedon.
Nice to meet you.
I would say with abortion, I think it's very complicated, but I think the issue that I have primarily with your stance of being pro-life, that there's no nuance. There's women who are being forced to travel hundreds of miles to access abortion care, even in cases of rape in certain states that they're not giving any sort of allowance for that. And I think, a lot of people who are pro-life, they say that they're pro-life, but I feel like they're really pro-birth because with firearms, the United States has some of the highest firearm deaths out of OECD nations, right? And we can acknowledge that that's for children who are actually living and breathing. So I feel like abortion, while yeah, it is, I can definitely see your point. I just think that it should be allowed.
So he has a point where, it's mostly conservatives that are against abortions, and then it's also conservatives that are against welfare programs that go to help needy families and foster care systems and stuff like that, which has always confused me. It's like you're gonna take away the ability for parents or people who can't be parents or don't want to be, and not wanting to be a parent is important, right? Because and this child could be born being resented, being mistreated, abused, neglected, malnourished, and I just don't think that's a good thing. We could say, well, close your legs, stop having sex, but that's not going to work. Saying those things isn't going to prevent teenagers and just stupid and reckless people from doing it, and children shouldn't be the ones facing the brunt of these people's mistakes. So if they can correct a mistake with an abortion, I think that's better than correcting a mistake by forcing them to have a child they don't want and or cannot care for.
In some circumstances,
okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm happy to get into the gun violence stuff later, but I want to really stay focused on abortion.
Right.
You can say you see my point. Can you see the world also where, since we know it's a human life, that it should be illegal since we don't allow murder in our society?
Well, that's where I have an issue, because abortion is not being done willy-nilly. It's like the life of the mother is always.
How many abortions do you think we have every day in America? Just guess.
I'm not sure.
Guess.
I'm honestly not sure.
I don't think the majority of conservatives are against the idea of welfare. They just don't like how the government handles it. Lots of overhead and bad spending practices.
Sorry. Hello.
Hi. I just want to clarify, the thing that you're aiming for is less abortion, right? That would be what you would want, or at least no abortion.
Eventually, it's also a protection of those that can't protect themselves. But yes, and that's why after the reversal of Roe versus Wade, we saw abortions go down dramatically in Texas, Alabama, Mississippi. We saw thousands of babies that are now alive and well that are able to have amazing lives thanks to the reversal of Roe versus Wade.
I don't think a lot of that is true.
Well, it is, but
it's not true, because when you make abortion illegal, it doesn't actually decrease the amount of abortions that happen.
That's a nice talking point. In Texas, the numbers show differently. The birth rate has gone up.
Yeah, legal goes down, but illegal abortions still happen. Abortions still happen outside of whatever data you're showing.
That's not true, but let's just say, well, if you
40?
If you want to, well, first of all, if you count the abortion pill, you're right, but that's a separate thing than a chemical abortion and surgical abortion are different things. And I'm not debating. I'm not debating you. I'm debating her. So if you want to do the flags and come back in, try and be faster next time. So let me ask you this. So the question is, we should try to limit unjust suffering of human beings, right?
Sure.
Okay, that's my position, is that there's unjust suffering of anywhere between 1.4 to 1.6 million abortions a year of human beings that are being massacred in the womb. And so that's not a woman's rights issue, that's not a men's rights issue, that's just a human rights issue.
Okay, the best way to decrease abortions happening is proper sex education. Limiting abortion and making abortion illegal does not actually decrease the amount of abortions that happen.
So what is your evidence of that?
What is my evidence of that?
Because we have increased sex education in the last 30 years.
Our sex education is so bad in America.
Well, by bad, what do you mean by that? We have more access to birth control for young kids. We have more kids that are learning to use birth control at a younger age.
It
we
doesn't
have more of that in our
matter.
public school system, and we've seen.
It doesn't matter how much sex education we have. Honestly, people are still going to hold on. Okay, so I'm getting a content warning. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I guess we're not watching that. That sucks. I kind of, there's a lot more other conversations in that video that I thought were interesting. So, all right, so we could watch the Trent Horn Destiny debate. I just don't know if I want to have a full abortion stream, because it's just I just hate debating abortion. Some other things we could watch, that Pearl video I was going to do. Yeah, also it is very long. So we could watch the Pearl video, or we could watch a Piers Morgan panel. About the debate. Or I don't know. Does anybody have any other suggestions? I was not prepared.
Don't be mean, Nick.
Let me see if I have anything in my
Listen, Toby Tits, I was defending
playlist.
Go sit on.
So actually, maybe something interesting. We could watch the Piers Morgan panel. It was a panel that he had the day before the debate, and then we could watch the panel that came after the debate. Oh, Juan says, do just pearly things. All right, we'll do that. We have a vote.
Yeah. Around it, which is great. I love it. And I agree with most of what you say.
Here?
I mean, and all of what you say, essentially, in principle. And I'm glad that you're taking up the cause. But what, like, do you know why you're so passionate about this?
I think it just changed me when I interviewed men who were like a mile from their kids and hadn't seen them in 3 years. Like, it's... I had to stop doing so many interviews of divorced men because it would seriously depress me. It was so sad.
Did it
like,
type in this game, or you just have to use the
it would be like fathers that, and it's not the players. It's not like the deadbeat dads that they paint like fathers that are not in their kids' lives. The most common trope I got was a guy that wanted to be a traditional father. He wanted to provide. He found a chick. He liked the chick. He married the chick. He had a normal job. And then, she puts an abuse claim out. Now, it's never followed up by the police. A lot of times during COVID, it would get pushed off the trial for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time he got to court, she had the primary care of the children, and that was what they based custody off of.
Right.
So it's like you meet these dads who it's like they don't care about the money. They just want to see their kids.
Yeah.
And it's been 2 years, 3 years since they've seen their kids, or they get them every other week. Like one guy that we didn't actually release this because his case was like that. He ended up wanting to not, his daughter was in the house with a pedophile. He couldn't do anything.
His daughter was in the house with a pedophile? The new boyfriend was a pedophile and he couldn't do anything about it?
Couldn't do anything about it.
Because the court systems favor women because they believe that children are better off with their mothers generally. Although the data doesn't suggest that.
Not at all. The women are the most likely ones to abuse children.
Right. But I mean, I've heard you say this before, and I've heard the pushback is, well, they're around the children
but if
more.
That was I looked into that, and if that were the case, if it was based on the time that the mother spent with the kids, women are spending less time with children, but abuse is going up. So that doesn't make sense.
Right.
But that's what I mean.
But either way, women are hitting and abusing their children. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Here we go.
For sure.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about it.
And if the man, because what they'll do is this is what I mean when they, like, the academics find the craziest ways to, like, move stats. If you look at, because they'll say,
I'm sorry, I just have to say it. This woman is a millionaire. She was raised as a 1%er baby with a, like, very wealthy family. Pretty sure they're millionaires. She did, like, a whole tour of her, like, 10-bedroom family mansion. And she tries to set this example for women. She has, like, a wife school, and she tries to teach women how to be proper wives and how to be feminine, right? That's her, like, whole thing. And, like, no offense, but, like, her clothes look like they've just been, like, folded and thrown in the corner of her room, and she just, like, picked it up and put it on. And her hair looks like undone. And this is, like, a big interview. Like, this has... Oh, well, it actually only has 41K views. But still, like, she's, like, a big public figure. And she just doesn't put herself together well. And, like, normally I wouldn't complain, but when she tries to make herself this, like, female guru of, like, telling other women that, they're not, like, fit to be wives, and then she, like, presents herself like this, and her arguments are that, like, it's a woman's primary job to be beautiful and attractive. I don't know, it's just bullshit.
Say, oh, well, it's close, men and women. Well, who are the men abusing the kids? The frickin' stepdads. So if the dad abuses the kid, it's most likely a stepfather. Yeah, yep.
No, I've heard that too. It's so disturbing. I had a stepdad. He wasn't abusive, but he did when my mom left him.
Yeah.
And he was he was in the picture. He took over, and when my mom left him, he completely abandoned me. And when I went through all my therapy, that was actually the deepest wounding, that a man had just completely betrayed me. So, yeah. Anyway, stepdads. The abuse is coming from the stepdads.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, you do these interviews, and it's like you see a guy in front of you, and all he wants is to see his kids. Some of them are homeless. Some of them are ex-veterans. And some of them, in the next year, if they committed suicide, I wouldn't be surprised. And a lot of them do. And I just think it's so wrong.
But your heart opens up to these men. Like, you care about it because there's a lot of causes that you could care about. There's a lot of injustice in the world. Why this one? Do you know?
I don't know.
I mean,
I do love my dad a lot. I always talk about him, but I don't even think that's it. Because, my parents are still together, but
what's their relationship like?
They're still.
This confuses me too. lots of times she says, and I think this is like a valid reason, she used to say that she had a brother who was suicidal, and that's what brought her attention to men's issues. And then she, like, I don't know, and then sometimes she doesn't bring that up. It's just weird to me. I just don't know what to believe from her ever. I feel like she is never really fully honest.
Married, they've been.
Are they happy?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, like, they have problems like any married couple, but I mean, they built like a business together, so they would kind of be everything that like the trads would, declare. But
what's their dynamic? Who has the power?
I think it depends on the day, to be honest. But,
well, that's good answer. It's equal.
No, I wouldn't say equal.
Oh, really? Who's got the power?
I don't know. I don't think they'd really want me like talking about their marriage.
Well, but we're talking about you.
Yeah. Well,
your perception.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it depends on the day. Like, that's what I would say.
Okay. What's your mother
she's
like?
A bullshitter.
She's like hardworking. So she's very organized, hardworking chick.
Are you close?
Not super close with my mom, but it's not like we like hate each other. It's just not like overly close, I guess.
How is that? You're not close with your mother?
It's all right,
It's all right?
Yeah, it's all right.
Would you prefer to be closer to your mother in a perfect world?
Maybe. Like, if I'm moving home this year, so part of it's just been like me being in England, So I'm not as close with like my family because it's like I'm across the ocean.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Did something happen between you and your mother? I mean, I understand you want to protect your mother and your family, and I totally respect that. And I'm just curious about any way that I want to understand your psychology, right? I want to understand what happened to you, and I want to do it honestly, Pearl, in a good way. Like, I'm not here to like expose you or I just want to understand you, and I also think that would be an interesting conversation. And I think that
I don't think she understands herself.
You're such a huge public figure now. Like, people are so curious about you, and like you get analyzed all the time.
Yeah.
And people are speculating. I actually haven't speculated. I haven't thought about it because I don't know. I just wanted to see what happened when we're across from each other and what I noticed or what I felt. How does that land when I say that? How does that feel?
It's fine. All right.
All right. You're not close with your mother. Is there a reason?
She's just very like type A, I guess. So she's very organized, and I'm very like, So I just think sometimes like those two personalities kind of like clash,
Did you feel disapproval from her because of the way you were?
Well, I mean, she was annoyed.
She was annoyed by you?
Because I was messy, But no, not like super crazy,
Yeah.
But yeah.
You didn't. Something got missed.
Yeah, I just think like, I don't know. Have you ever had like a messy person live in with like a super organ? It just doesn't. Because there's clashing.
Yeah.
Mom, I forgot my bag at home.
And that would annoy her?
Yeah, it would.
And what would she say? Would she scold you?
Yeah, but then she'd get it. Or send the nanny or whoever.
Dude, I can just feel like you must have been a precocious child.
What do you mean, a precocious?
Like, well, you're smart, sassy, kind of. All children are manipulative.
Okay.
They want to get what they want, and they have all kinds of tactics to do that. And I have a feeling that you were probably really good at it. How could you not be? You're really good at arguing.
I mean, I was just really into sports. No, like, that's when I think of my childhood. I just think of sports.
But what do you think about what I just said?
Like, I was manipulating them.
All children manipulate to get what they want. They don't have any other tactic. What did you want but you didn't get as a child, do you think?
I don't know, because my parents were so supportive in like what I wanted to do. So like, if I wanted to play drums, they bought me a drum set.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom and Dad, that didn't pan out. I don't play drums. But yeah, I mean, I would like, I trying to think. What did I get that I didn't?
What did you need from them?
I mean, they traveled a lot. So, and I was one of like 10 siblings. So maybe like sometimes I wanted them like home.
She also, by the way, wanted to be a female priest just because there have never been any female priests. So she used to be a feminist. And I mean, technically, she kind of is still a feminist because she's a woman that like made a huge name in the manosphere, which is a very feminist thing to do. So sometimes I think that she really has this underlying agenda where she just wants to take over men's spaces because it's a man's space and she's a woman. Like that's why she wanted to be the first female priest, because it was only men priests before. So that's my little theory I have.
More, but it's kind of hard to even say that because I was gone all the time. I did travel volleyball from the time I was like 12.
Right.
And so I did like 2 sports
I don't really care about her background.
Right out of school.
Feel a demand, like an expectation, like you had to live up to something?
Okay. We're going to switch this up.
Oh my god. Are these bleeps somewhere?
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube.
Okay, we're going to watch this instead. We're going to do it. We're going to do this now. Okay. Let me get set up. So, this is a very old video of Pearl Davis, Just Pearly Things. Before she was really big in the manosphere. You know, she was just starting to get into all this men's rights stuff. And, oh, sorry, can you hear that? Let me turn the gain down. And she has this video called Why I Hated Men. So I thought it was very interesting for a couple reasons. So we're going to watch this, and then I might have a few clips. No, he's my boyfriend. You're good. Then I have a few clips I want to juxtapose, and play afterwards, and compare them to what she said here. So this might be a little bit of a trial and error. Alright, my boyfriend figured it out for me. Yay for boyfriends. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Alright. This I think is much more interesting. So right, so she made this video a long time ago. It's called Why I Hated Men. And I'm just gonna let Pearl do the talking and go from there.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel. God, I'm kind of nervous to tell this story because I really don't know how the manosphere is.
This video has been like scrubbed from the internet, by the way.
Gonna react. But I want to tell you a story that really made me dislike men for like a really, really long time. And really like made me feel like violated, so to speak. This story, everything that happened was like legal technically, but there's just a lot of stuff that was really like messed up in hindsight to me. Okay, I'm kind of nervous. Okay. So anyone that's been like following me for a while knows that I was an athlete and like sports was super, super important to me when I was growing up. So, I was always the type to like put in extra hours at the gym. I was always the type to like work hard. I'm like naturally pretty uncoordinated, but I really like got to where I was athletically just because I worked really, really hard. So I'm getting nervous. Okay. Anyways, so when I was in high school, my mom hired a trainer, and that trainer, his name was Marcus, and he was in the NFL. And he was like, I don't know, like my dad was gone a lot when I was younger. And I'm never going to be the type to say like my dad wasn't there, because he was always there for like the big events, like the big stuff. He was always there for us. I always knew that he loved us. But there were times when he just like wasn't around a lot because he was running like a big software company, you know? So at that time, like I really looked at this trainer, Marcus, as like a father figure. Like I saw him maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So I got like, it was a one-on-one session. So I got like really close with him. And like all the time, and this was when I started maybe when I was 15, like going to see him a couple times a week, and he really helped me like get to the next level of my sport, whatever. And in hindsight, there were like a couple conversations that stood out to me that were kind of weird. But at the time when you're young, like it's kind of exciting when the adult talks to you about like stuff that's sort of inappropriate to be talking to minors about. Like a conversation that
Okay, so first, notice a couple things. She starts by saying she feels, she felt, not victimized, fuck, what's that? It's another V word. Anyway, she feels like this guy, made her vulnerable and made her feel uncomfortable. He was an adult. He was her coach. And she goes on to say that when you're young, you kind of sometimes misunderstand these things that adults say to you, and you think like they're kind of cool or whatever. And she specifically says when you're young. And this is something I really want to point out, because in a lot of her shows, later on, she will say, like, tell women who are talking about stories that they've had with boyfriends when they were, there's one specific one. I'm going to try to find the video. Hopefully I can find it, because she's erased, like, all the videos from her YouTube, but I might have saved it. And this girl, she like met this guy when she was 16. They were working at the same place, and he was like in his late 20s. And I think like they started talking when she was 15, and then they started dating when she was like 17, almost 18. But he was basically grooming her from 16, like saying like sexual comments to her and flirting with her and all this stuff. And he ended up being like a violent guy, and Pearl was basically blaming it on her, on this girl, saying like she was old enough and she should have known better, and she stayed with him for, you know, a couple years. And so, yeah, but here she is in this video recognizing that when you're a young person, when you're like a teenager, you just don't have the wits about you to fully understand what adults like agendas are, or just like the difference between maturity of an adult to a young person, right? Like a personal story. When I was 14, okay, I was talking to a 22-year-old man. I never met this person. And I was 14. He knew I was 14. I actually think we first started talking when I was 13. He knew I was 14. And he would say things like, oh, you're so mature for your age. I wish the women my age were like you. You're so cool. Like we were supposed to meet up and stuff. We never did. But like, I knew I was a minor and he was 22. But so I was like, oh, you know, that's like wrong. But I didn't fully comprehend it. because I was 14. But him as a 22-year-old man fully understood, right? So there's a huge difference there. Just because you understand it's wrong doesn't mean you fully grasp or comprehend the situation. And this is something that she will later in her career go on to deny against other women. So yeah, it pissed me off when I saw this, because it clarified that she knows better. She understands, and yet she is grifting so hard that she's like going against something that happened to her. I was essayed as a kid. That is how predators lure. Build your confidence in being a mature person. Exactly. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Smoke.
But you would definitely understand. That's how they try to make you feel special, and they try to make you feel like you're smarter and more capable than you actually are. And you being a child or like a teenager, like you obviously don't know better, but they do know better. Right? And this is something that Pearl will go on to eventually deny, and that's why it pisses me off. Because she's not doing any good other than grifting to angry men.
That stood out was, I remember like saying something about me being like insecure, when I was a kid. Because when I was in high school, like I got zero attention from boys. Like boys never talked to me. So, and it's not even like the 80-20 thing. Like guys just never approached me, never talked to me. I went to a small Catholic school. And
also, sorry, I'm pausing again so soon, but I think this also has a lot to do with, her current career is bringing down other women, probably because she didn't get that attention when she was younger. And I honestly think a lot of her hatred for women comes from her jealousy. And I think that's pretty clear. I think like most people have been able to recognize that. And it's kind of sad. Like when I was in high school, I did not get attention from guys either. I did not have as much confidence or self-esteem in myself as I do now. I was very insecure about my appearance. I wasn't bullied, but I didn't have friends. Really, I like sat alone at lunch, and I had like a couple very close friends, but most of them ended up like moving away or like didn't go to my high school or weren't in my grade. So, yeah, I was kind of a loner, and I was kind of a weirdo. I ran away when I was a kid. I had these weird rumors about me, whatever. So, like, I understand that. And, like, when I was younger, I had this kind of, like, jealousy of, like, the popular pretty girls. But, like, I grew up, and I got over that. I matured and realized, like, that was just me being jealous of other people having something that I didn't have. And there's no reason for me to, like, hate these people at all, So, and I just think that's something that Pearl never grew out of.
I said something to him about it, and he said, like, you'll get attention in college. And I forgot what he said, but he, like,
I'm going to go back a minute.
And I said something to him about it, and he said, like, you'll get attention, like, God, when I was a kid. Because when I was in high school, like, I got zero attention from boys. Like, boys never talked to me. So, and it's not even like the 80-20 thing. Like, guys just never approached me, never talked to me. I went to a small Catholic school. And I said something to him about it, and he said, like, you'll get attention in college. And I forgot what he said, but he, like, I don't remember the exact words, but he heavily insinuated that, like, basically I had a big butt, so I would get attention in college. And, like, to me, this was just, like, a source of validation that I never really got, like, from, like, anywhere outside of high school. And And there's just small things like that where I would tell him about like parties like that I went to, or like nothing big, but like, you know, just stuff like you really should not be talking about like underage drinking with an adult as a minor. Like that's inappropriate. But, you know, there's a lot of like other stuff too that he just helped me with. So it wasn't like that was all we were talking about, but that there's just like moments that are kind of weird in hindsight once you're older and you look back like that was you as a child, you know?
Bingo, right there. See, this is what I mean. She fully understands these things. And then she goes on to say, like, you know, you're like, as a 16-year-old, you should know better and you're fully responsible for your actions. You should have picked up on these things. Or like women who date abusers, it's like their fault because how do you not see the red flags? This is something I hear her say all the time. How did you not see the red flags? It's because they're not purposely like going in there and acting like a predator. You notice these things in hindsight, and especially when you're a minor. So she's fully aware of these things, and she still goes on to pander.
Anyways, I like keeping on going with this story. When I turned 18, or I was 17 when I left for college. So the last time I saw him before I left for college, I was 17 because I was kind of young for my grade. So when I turned 18, I went to college and I did well my freshman year, whatever. And the first time I went back to see him when I was 18, because, sorry, this might sound weird if you aren't in a sport, but any like former athlete knows the connection you have with like a coach. So he wasn't the only coach that I'd go back and see. Like I went back and saw my high school coach. I saw a couple club coaches. And while I was at it, I went and saw my old trainer that I was really close with that helped me get to where I was. He texted me because I was just going to go see him at the gym.
Okay, so just to clarify, she's in college now. She graduated, she turned 18, she graduated, and now she's going back. Maybe it's on break, I don't know, but she's going back and visiting, I guess like as an alumni or whatever. But this particular time, this particular coach that was like kind of grooming her texted her to meet her at a bar. So that's where we're at now. But at this point in the story, she is in college and she is 18. In my personal opinion, that doesn't really mean very much, but in her opinion, apparently it means the world. So, yeah.
Texted me to go see him at this like bar that was really close with that helped me get to where I was. He texted me because I was just going to go see him at the gym. He texted me to go see him at this like bar. But it was like during the day, so you could go eat there too. So I was like, okay, it's not that weird. Like just going to get lunch with an old coach, whatever. I genuinely didn't think anything of it. So it was weird when I got there because he was definitely like drinking and he like sat at the bar. But I was so naive, guys. Like I didn't think anything. And he kept trying to get me to drink because I was like kind of bragging that I had like a fake ID and whatnot. So he was like trying to get me to use it. And I wasn't the type to just like drink with adults. Like I would just drink at college. I didn't drink when I was home. So I kept telling him, no, I don't want to do that. Whatever. And during the dinner or the lunch, he just said things that were kind of weird. Like he would say, like, again, making comments about my butt, asking if I had sex at that point, like, just stuff that was inappropriate and I thought was kind of weird. But like in my head, it was just because we were like close. Like this was the, father-like figure. I don't know. It was really weird in hindsight. I don't know. I was dumb. But anyway, so I said like, okay, I'm gonna go. Great to see you, whatever, left. he calls me on my way back and says, hey, like, you should just come to the gym really quick. He owned the gym, like it was his own place. And at first I said no, but he's like, come on, like, you should have a shot with me. I don't know. He kept asking me if I wanted to have a shot with him. And in my head, I thought, I always felt like special, like cooler than the other girls. Cause he was like the cool trainer at like my club that I went to. So I always felt like I'm the one that he like gives extra attention to, or I'm the one that he, you know, spends more time with. Like I'm the one he believes in, whatever. I always felt like cool. So I genuinely thought it would be cool to like take a shot with, you know, my old trainer and just brag about it to my friends. So when I thought about it like that, I was like, you know what? F it. Like I'll go take a shot and then I'm going to get going.
Again, typical groomer thing. Make her feel special. Make her feel like the cool one. These predators often pick up on people who are like insecure or have some kind of like vulnerability about them, which she already explained she did because she wasn't getting attention from boys in school. And this trainer clearly picked up on that and has been making Moo. Oh my God, my cat eats styrofoam. Stop it. Sorry, my cat's a retard and literally eats styrofoam. Like, sorry. Okay. Yeah, she's making these remarks, like calling herself, stop, you terrorist. Okay. She makes these remarks that she's stupid and she's naive. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Okay. Or point that out.
I was like, you know what? F it. Like, I'll go take a shot and then I'm going to get going. And I have to say, by the way, he is, I don't know what his age was, but like, I would say late 30s, early 40s. He had a daughter that was my age, which, you know, kind of weird. And he was married too. So that's why a lot of stuff that he did that was weird. Like in my head, people don't cheat, especially when there married. And at that age, like I genuinely did not think that married men cheated. Like genuinely didn't know. I never heard of anyone cheating. Yeah, I didn't think it was a thing. So
that's kind of strange to me. Maybe it's possible she grew up in a very sheltered life, but she's 18 and has never heard of like married men cheating. I don't know if she's just trying to like justify it in her head because maybe she still kind of like blames herself for the naivety of this. You know, which again, like it's not her fault. She was 18 and feeling this way. Like, you know, these predators are like, this is what they do. This is what they do. This is what they're good at. So
I go to the gym, right? And he's like there sitting down and he's just like making conversation with me, whatever. And we take the shot, whatever. And we talk probably for like half hour, 45 minutes. And he says, you know, like this gym, like we're alone. We could do whatever you want. And I'm like, what do you mean, Marcus? Like, what do you, and he's like, what do you think I mean? And I don't know why, like, because there's a bunch of stuff that led up to it, but this was over, I'm 24 now. So this was over 5 years ago. So I genuinely don't remember the entire conversation, but like that part of the conversation, literally, I will never forget. And so then I just said, you know what, Marcus, like, I think I do, but I'm going to pretend like I don't. I'm going to get out of here. And then he's like texting me after I leave, like trying to get me to come back and like have sex with him. And obviously like I left. I was not about that. But I came to find out that he was doing this not just with me, like clearly, but with like a lot of other girls. He would just like plant seeds until we were 18 and try to hook up with the girls once they turned 18. And it's just kind of messed up, you know? And it was like...
And that's called grooming. Something that she denies again and again and again. Says this doesn't happen. Women make this shit up. Another thing she often says is, you know, if women are gonna share stories like this on the internet and destroy a man's reputation, which she gave this man's name and his like occupation, she said he worked like for NFL, bring proof, bring some kind of evidence or something if women are gonna go and like share these stories. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but the fact that I found this and knowing her content now and what she says is just like disturbing. She's like betraying herself, almost like betraying something that she herself has experienced for views, she's grifting for content, for views, to grift to, again, like angry men. So like she knows better, and that's why I just think she's a total fraud and a total fake.
Heartbreaking to me because this guy, like, I looked at him as a father figure. And it was like heartbreaking to me because this guy, like, I looked at him as a father figure. There were times where I was like closer with him than like with my dad. And nothing against my dad, you know, me and my dad like got closer after this, and like later on, like now I'm like super close with my dad. But yeah, at that time I really wasn't. So it just kind of changed the way that I viewed the world, because one, I didn't know people cheated. I didn't know that was a thing. Two, it made me second guess a lot of like coaches that had given me like attention and help growing up, you know. It made me kind of think maybe a lot of them were creepier than I thought before. And genuinely, like, I felt like I'd lost like a friend, which really sucked. And then on top of that, I actually had to go get him fired from my school because he was going to start coaching my younger sisters. He was the track coach at my high school, and I was not about to let him coach my sisters. So I like literally printed the screenshots and I brought it to the school and was like, look, I know I was technically 18 at the time when he did this, but this like isn't right. Like, he can't be grooming young girls to do that. Like, that's messed up. So I don't know, that event like actually changed my life. Like, and that's when I started to like, I don't want to say hate men, but I started to see it everywhere. Like, I would see all these guys like at my school or at, you know, like married guys just like being super flirty with like younger girls. And it just made me sad, you know? But I mean, it's been long enough. Like, I'm cool now, but yeah, that's the story of how one guy made me think poorly of an entire gender for maybe like 2 years. It wasn't that long, but 2 years, longer than it should have. So I feel weird after that story telling you to comment anything, but yeah, thanks for listening. If you made it this far, I'll talk to you guys next time.
Okay, so, and then remember, in the beginning of that video, she said she was worried about putting it out because she was worried about what the manosphere was going to think. All right, so luckily, I found the other video that I wanted to play after that to juxtapose her opinions from then to now. I believe it is this one.
I've come to conclude this. Okay, wait. I need to get this off my chest.
Yes, it is this one. Okay, perfect. So let me set this up again. Oh, perfect. It's already up there. Okay, so let's, hopefully that is all sunken in. And now we're going to watch this.
Okay, I have come to conclude that either 50% of all men are narcissists, or women are all dating the same narcissist, or maybe women are the problem.
No, scientifically it's been shown. This is the research. Let's get into data and not just our feelings.
Pearl, you gotta add, I'm a queen. Please add that one.
I'm an independent.
I'm an independent queen.
It's different, don't they? Is it QW? W-E-N.
No, K-W-E-E-N.
I knew it was English. I knew there was a special way of spelling it.
Okay, what's the data?
I disagree about something right now. Like everyone's sort of agreeing with a lot of things.
Go ahead, Mama.
Speak your mind. And I feel like I need to disagree about a few things actually. A few things on that list actually.
Go ahead.
I'd personally remove. I don't know exactly what, but one stood out to me. Now, I've had a few exes. A lot of the exes I've had have been very, very nice men.
Okay, so the list they're talking about is Pearl, right before this happened, Pearl had a whole list, and it was called What Women Shouldn't Be Allowed to Say Anymore. And one was like, you shouldn't, again, like what I was saying earlier, you shouldn't be able to like say you had like a narcissistic ex, or like accuse a man of abuse. There's a whole bunch of other things too, but those were on the list.
I'd say about in October, I got out of a relationship, and I was with this guy for a year, and this guy was genuinely abusive. Does that mean I cannot use the term that I had an abusive ex? Does that mean that I should diminish my sort of feelings because of that? Because genuinely, I had to go through like victim support and things like that. I had to put things in place for my safety. So as a woman, do you think that I should not use that? Because I know you are laughing and joking and whatnot about like narcissism, this, that, the other. Obviously, I know there's only a small percentage of men that are actually narcissistic. And I think people that ruin it is the women that throw these words out. Like, for example, women that lie about getting raped, or women that lie about getting like sexually assaulted. They ruin it. Essay. They ruin it for the actual women that have been victim. And I know, again, I'm one of those people that believe in accountability. I genuinely believe that you should take accountability for the things that have happened to you, and you should fix yourself. But I just don't think it's fair to say that you should diminish your own experience because other women want to throw out the words or the phrases. And again, it sort of brings it down to yourself.
Yeah, so when she's saying like throwing out the phrases and stuff, that she's referring to this list that Pearl just went over of things that women should not be allowed to say.
Thank you.
It sort of just brings it down to the fact that it makes you feel a bit worse about it, sort of thing. Because again, I've been through things, and again, I can say maybe I've not been the perfect person. Maybe some of the things I've done are my fault, but that does not diminish my experience of the things that I have had happen to me.
Can I just say?
Yeah, no.
From a woman I'm going to speak on the woman that's been abused. Right, in my day, you call the police, nothing happened. In your day, you got all the things out there. You got victim support. I never had it. So why are you staying in it? I've got no sympathy for people nowadays. I went through shit. So you went through an abusive relationship. You know what? I don't give a shit. If a man was going through a relationship, the women wouldn't give a shit.
I got groomed from the age of 17 to 21 years old.
I can say the same thing. I can say the same thing.
You can say the same thing, but the thing is,
I got a child out of it. You got a child? Have you got a child?
I'm 21.
I don't have a child.
No, I don't have a child.
I had a child at 18. Right?
Again, what is this like fucking victim Olympics? Like, oh, back in my day, blah, 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 blah. I can tell you, I called the police for a domestic violence situation. It was the one and only time I called. It was, out of all the times I could have called, oh shit. It was the one time I called, and it did not go well at all. And when I tell people the story, lots of people don't even believe me because they can't even fathom that the police would act that way. So I've been accused of like making the story up and stuff. So there's still issues, right? Like just to say that things are maybe a little bit better today, so you have no sympathy for abuse victims. This has to do with psychology. There's a psychology of victims that almost is identical among them. So you're not crazy, you're not stupid. yeah, you can make bad choices, right? And then you're held accountable by dealing with that abusive relationship, right? But the fact that so many people deal with the situation the same exact way, it says a lot. But anyways,
sympathy for people nowadays. I went through shit. So you went through an abusive relationship. You know what? I don't give a shit. If a man was going through a relationship, the women wouldn't give a shit.
I got groomed from the age of 17
I can say
to
the
21
same
years
thing.
old
I can
by
say
a
the same
29-year-old
thing.
man.
I can say the same thing.
You can say the same thing, but the thing
I got a child out of it. You got a child? Have you got a child?
I'm 21.
What,
I don't have a child. No, I don't have a child.
I had a child at 18.
All
right?
right,
You call the police. If you call the police, what happens to you?
Nothing.
So there's
because
no
the police don't want to do
sympathy.
shit. They want to take my man's phone because my
As far as I'm concerned, you're in an abusive relationship. The door's there.
How's it no sympathy though? How's it no sympathy?
You can walk out.
Well, that seems like a new problem.
Nowadays, they've got everything there for you.
You can walk out, but do you not understand? People can genuinely fucking manipulate you as somebody that's not grown up with the best fucking.
So you learned from that.
No, I learned, and again, I'm healing. I'm
that's
learning.
That's what they're talking about, accountability.
I know, and again, I'm taking accountability. But as somebody that's not grown up,
you were young, right?
As someone that's not grown up with the best role models, sorry, it's hard for you to just click on immediately.
What were your role models?
In what?
Right. No,
what do you mean
because all I'm going to say is that you said you were young. I was young. You said you were abused. I was abused. You didn't call the police, right? Because in my day, I called the police and nothing happened because they were saying it was a domestic. Right. So we're here talking about stuff and you're going to go against everything everybody says.
I'm not going against everything.
No, but what you're saying
is that
these things happen.
No. Okay, Pearl's just brought up a list of words that women should not use.
Nobody is saying that you cannot use those lists.
No, but you can use the words.
Don't stick on them.
No,
those are words that women always use, and you've come up and you're using the same thing again.
To reiterate my point, I clearly said to you,
yep.
I am a woman that believes in taking accountability. I'm a woman that's healing. I am a 21-year-old girl. I'm not necessarily as matured as you lot, or I'm not necessarily as experienced as you lot.
You're not a girl. You're a grown woman. If you've had sex and you've had a relationship, don't use the word girl because you will say, and I don't mean this to put you down. Listen, my mother was raped at raped at 14 with a weapon to her. Her mother, she was raised in Section 8. I don't know if you have that over here, welfare. Yeah. Okay. She had no father home. She didn't meet her father until she was pregnant with me at 30 at his funeral when he was in a casket. Everything you talk about, people have went through worse, and it's not to diminish what you've gone through. What you've gone through is a learning lesson for you to do better. Like my mother then went on and did better than her family through horrible circumstances. Who took her in were nuns, Catholic nuns, when her mother kicked her out from being assaulted at 14 and pregnant. That's how I have my oldest sister. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying to you, what you went through, use it as a learning lesson. Use it to fuel who you want to be in the future. And realize the world has no sympathy for any of us.
Wait, that's what she's saying. She's saying she's healing. She's taken accountability for her actions, but she doesn't think it's fair for Pearl to say that women aren't allowed to say that they've been in an abusive relationship. That's what her point is right now. And all these women are jumping on her and playing victim Olympics with her right now. Hold on, but it will get worse. This all ties into the last video I played.
The only person who cares about us the most is yourself. And you use that as a learning lesson to never let someone manipulate you. This is the issue that we have. A lot of times women will say, I was a victim of this, and you were. Okay? It's not, nobody doesn't believe you or anything like that. Absolutely. We know the trauma. And even there's psychological, I would say, things that someone can do to you that can break you down. We even talk about Stockholm syndrome and all these things are very real in psychology. But what you have to say now is say, out of all that list she said, you have to say, how can I now learn that lesson so that I no longer can be a victim to such a monster?
I don't say.
And you have to say, take accountability and say, how am I choosing? And am I purposely choosing women in my life to guide me? Am I coming under discipline and leadership? Have I made changes? Were there people in my life that said, this is not a good guy, but I still chose to be with this person, or I saw the red flags? And it's not to point blame. We all make mistakes. Every single person in this room has not lived a perfect life. So it's not about saying that it was somehow your fault. You're very young. But now what happens is a lot of you guys are very young, but the world now sees you use the word girl. And the reason why I said you're a woman is that now the world is going to hold you accountable as a woman. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be a mother. You're going to be somebody's grandmother. You're going to be, everything you've gone through is a lesson. And so what you want to do for your life now is take what has happened, digest it. And accountability looks like this. Why did I choose that? What did my family of origin not give me? after that situation, have I sought out the counseling, the help that I need? Am I surrounding myself with people that, you know, that I can learn from so that I can do better? What I find a lot of times is we'll be victimized and we'll go through things and then we'll wall out. We'll go off because emotionally we don't know how to deal with the situation. And I think what the point is nobody here wants you to be a victim ever again.
By the way, this woman is one to talk. She has her own fucking history and background story that I could peel apart as well, but to be honest, she's just not that interesting to me. But she has a whole messy history with her husband and stealing her husband's YouTube channel, and they're like, it's like some kids YouTube channel. I don't know, all this crazy shit. But it's just funny that these people try to act like gurus. The girl literally said she went through counseling and stuff, and they're just like jumping on her. But anyways, the main point that I really want to get to in this video is coming up.
We want you to have strength, and we want your daughters, we want your family, we want you to have a husband, we want you to be taken care of, we want you to be loved on in a way that you may not have experienced. But in order to get that, you know what happens to a lot of women who have been through that situation? You continue to attract that same man. So unless you pause on dating, you're very young, you don't even need to date right now, and do the internal work, reading books. How many books on relationships have you read? How many things have you done to work on your healing through therapy? If you can't afford therapy, I think in the UK, this stuff is free. In the US, it's a struggle bus, but you know, because we have to pay for everything. But like, have you explored every avenue? Because you say, you know what? I have to care about me more than anyone else, and I can never allow another person. So when it happened to my mother, what she did is those nuns took her in. She had no one. And I won't go into details of how horrific it was, but imagine being violated as a child and being pregnant, and then your own mother, who was for the streets, had children by different men, competed against you for different men, did not believe you, and didn't want another mouth to feed, and kicked you out in that situation. She just tried to find what she could, and those nuns helped her. She got her GED in the US, that's like your high school diploma. And then she said she didn't talk to her family for 7 years. She said, I'm going to do better than all of them. She joined the military in the US, became ROTC. She went to college, graduated. I grew up in the Pentagon under Colin Powell and people in the US. You guys may not know who these people are, but I interned at the White House, and she raised me in private school. She got married, my father, and had me, and it was a lot going on. So I only want to say this to you. Pearl is not bringing this up to re-victimize you, because it's very serious, but don't take it as a criticism. But if we don't say it to you, a lot of times you will still be attracted to whatever energy, and I believe in spirituality, whatever spirit you were attracted to, you will continue to attract that unless you say, you know what was in me that I saw red flags in this man and I stayed. Why, you know, and how can I heal and grow from this so I can do better and get better? Nobody's putting you down. We want you to heal, and I want you to understand that we understand, and we absolutely do not blame you. You're very young, but I can see you going far if you can take the accountability and heal and do and make better choices in men, because they don't deserve you. A demon like that who would abuse you does not deserve you, and we don't want you to be attracted to that same spirit again.
I think you're right in saying that, because again, I know I just went a bit berserk about the words, but I think you're right in saying what you do say manifests in itself. So like, if I'm saying these sort of words, then again, it can happen again in sort of thing, because like you said, I'm attracting that sort of energy. But yeah, I really appreciate what you just said, and I definitely do agree with it. I just think sometimes people can be a bit harsh in the way that they sort of say things.
Have you
I'm
sorry for being so straightforward, but no, that's where I am. I'm not apologising.
No, you're fine.
Have you started counselling?
Yeah, currently I'm still.
How long have you been going?
About 2 months. I don't know.
Is it a male or female therapist?
Female.
Female.
And I just tend not to really I speak about it, but I just don't really think it's helping.
Can I tell you the men in the space like MTR? And there's other men in the space. This is one thing. Kevin Samuels was a good friend of mine, and a lot of women were upset with him because he would speak harshly. But one of the things that he understood is a lot of women that had no leadership and guidance and direction, and had, you know, they were lied to their entire lives. They've been victimized by men in a very harsh way. He was very harsh with men. In fact, this just went viral. Women are just discovering how he went crazy on men, like way harder than women. And one of the things he said was that, like, no one's talking to them. People are just allowing our women to be victimized and telling them what they want to hear. So one of the things I would advise you to do is to listen to men like MTR. There's a lot of men in the space that if you actually listen to them, befriended men in that space, they will give you protection. And especially if you come with a humble spirit and you're listening, and you would learn from them how men think, and you would start to see, wait, I've seen a man like MTR who is talking about high achieving and this, that, and the other, and what the expectations are. And you would start to see when a guy comes across you again who's like basic, and you could start to see those red flags, because you're just like, I've seen other men who are not this way, who are, you know, who are different, who speak different. You may not have been exposed to it. So if a man comes with you with the same red flag energy that could victimize you, you'll know better. You won't even be attracted to anymore because you have that exposure. And if you befriend these men,
I mean, I would say that's like a good point. I think a lot of people, well, first of all, once you've been like a victim of something, your chances of being re-victimized of that thing go up. Probably, I don't know the exact science, but I would guess probably because you kind of like get used to it. And it's not as shocking anymore once it happens the first time. So you become more susceptible to it, especially in things like abusive situations, especially if you grew up with abusive parents or family, teachers, or anything like that. It's something you kind of become susceptible to. So surrounding yourself with a different kind of person is definitely a good idea. Again, like easier said than done, but that is good advice.
Instead of making, a lot of women make them their enemy, but a lot of these men will love you and give you advice and treat you with respect. And if you brought a man in their direction and asked them advice, they would be happy to tell you the truth about that man. But this is the thing, a lot of women will hear the truth. We will notice those red flags from our family and friends, or we know in our spirit, but we're attracted to something, but we're not willing to step away. There's a little bit of rebellion in us, if we're honest. We want what we want. I'm grown, I'm gonna make my own choice. But as you grow and as you get older, these are things that are gonna be important, because you're gonna tell your daughters or your children the same thing, or you may raise your sons to never victimize a woman. You gotta know what that looks like.
I was going to say something, but it's just absolutely gone out my head. I just feel like, me personally, I've been disadvantaged a bit growing up because I've never really felt like I have been protected by a man. Again, I'm not trying to...
Do you not have a father figure?
I do, but he's just very, like, distant. I've never really, like, had...
Like, did he not grow up with you separate?
So I lived with him in a split family from probably about 10 years old, but he came from Sierra Leone, and he didn't speak very well English. He didn't know much about like the Western culture and whatnot. He was just very, again, emotionally distant. He was a bit strict, but like he never really taught me core values or like what to see in a man. He was a little bit abusive as well, which is I think one of the reasons why I wouldn't say I seek abusive men, but originally, now I've started looking into it, I spot the signs, but originally I'd be around either emotionally unavailable men or men that are abusive. So I feel like I had a bit of disadvantage at that point, like you were saying earlier. Like with
at 21, you might have had one serious boyfriend, right? Like maybe two, if you could even call them serious boyfriends. Yeah, that's like if. That's like maybe. So yeah.
The whole when you grow up being brought up to be a housewife, I'd never really got that. So I feel like I've been disadvantaged in that sense. But it's something that I'm currently working on, and something that, like, obviously I'm currently healing myself before I get into another relationship, because I don't want to hurt myself again with a man that I feel does not deserve me. But again, I just feel, like I said earlier, a bit disadvantaged in that sense, but it's something that I need to.
And you said you were, and you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, so feel free to not answer any of this, but you said you were 17. How did you meet him?
Through work.
Through work. And did he know you before that?
Yeah.
From what age?
Like 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was he like a boss or something?
No, he just worked at my work.
MTR, you wanted to say?
Yeah, this is the type of conversation that I think it's very important.
Okay, so there, notice Pearl says she picked up on the 17 thing, right? Because that's around the same age she was when she was dealing with this coach that was grooming her from, I think it was about the same age, like 15, 16 through 17. And then when she turned 18, he finally tried to sleep with her. So Pearl picked up on that, that this girl said this. And it's just going to go downhill from here.
important for the women to talk to the women regarding this conversation. I kind of feel like out of place and out of turn in order to enter information. But let me give you from my perspective something that I tell the men on my channel is that when you're vetting a young woman, one of the first places that you should look at is the relationship between her father. And you mentioned that you said that your father was abusive. And one thing that we actually learned in a conversation earlier today is like attracts like. And if your father was abusive, you are more likely to attract abuse going into the future. And I think that it rings true even within this conversation. I think there was a lot of points that were made on both sides of the coin from both Melanie and Auntie Jenny that I think you should replay this video back. At the end of the day, you have to be responsible for you. And what you don't want to do is be a victim into your singleness. Into you're lonely forever.
And can I say this? You know, it's a failure of us as older women that we should be, you know, being able to mentor young women who have gone through these things and being able to be a voice. So many older women are competing. They're taking the same thirst trapping photos and still doing the most, only care about themselves. They don't care about their children. They're looking for what's best for them. But I think I'm 41, you're 21, we're 20 years apart.
Yeah.
And I was blessed where my sister and cousin flew out with me like on a dime because our families raised us where they have money. We were able to do what we want. We're Black Americans, which is it's very rare. Like I was like, hey, I gotta fly for business. I want to go. Hey, girl, let's go. Like my sister bought a travel agency just so we could travel and like get discounts. Like we're in those positions. And I say my sister is one of the people who's mentored me, like just talking to her, but my family in general. And I think, you know, if you want to hit me up, and this is how I was raised, because my parents did a lot of church ministry and things, but if you want to hit up and you want to talk to an older woman who's not like I'm not your mother, I'm not going to, you know, but if you want to, just, like, hey, can I don't know certain things. And I think that we as older women have failed this generation of women, the younger women, and I take accountability for that. Not, me specifically that I've done it, but in general, and even your mother allowing you to be raised by a man who victimized you and did not raise you, in the way that you should go. But you can change that, and you can have a great outcome. Don't let this define you. Let it be just a lesson to make you greater. Always say pain always leaves a gift.
I know. I agree.
Auntie's been holding up her hand.
I'm trying to be good just because you're here, right? Just because you're here. That's
No,
why I'm holding up my hand. I'm not butting.
You can go off, Auntie.
I'm on my best. No, Melanie, as older woman, and I'm older than you, the young people don't want to listen. We're old school.
I agree.
So I'm sorry, but I don't take that. I understand what you're saying, and from your point of view, I agree. I'm tired of talking to young people because they don't want to listen. So I'm not going to nice it up. Pearl knows. If Pearl wants advice and she can't get hold of her mother, Pearl will phone me. I ain't going to nice it up for Pearl. I will tell her straight. That true, Pearl? I will tell Pearl. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to tell her like it is. I don't give a damn how she takes it. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. I don't want to go around, and I've been talking to young people. I've been Auntie Jenny now for 37 years. I've been Auntie Jenny. Auntie Jenny's not a new thing. I've got now, woman up. I don't give a toss about what you're going through, because you know that you're in the UK now. There's free therapy. I've had it. The first one didn't work. I had the second one, I had the third one. You're on this, you're on that. You got your own job. You're making your own.
Sorry, this is a video. I screen recorded this, so this is my past self jumping through the video. Okay.
Funny. And I'm supposed to feel sorry because you've had a bad life. I've had a bad life. If it was a man, they would say, man up.
Yep.
Now, woman up. I don't give a toss about what you're going through, because you know that you're in the UK now. There's free therapy. I've had it. The first one didn't work. I had the second one, I had the third one. I tried all different kinds until it worked. So that's why I got to the point where I am, where I don't want to hear no excuses for the UK, because in the UK, they will lie down backwards to help you. You want therapy, it's there. Whatever kind you want, it's there. You're ill, it's there. Everything is free in the UK. Education, everything is free. So I can understand what you're saying from an American point of view, but from England, I ain't taking no excuses. I'm tired of talking to young people, because they will look at me and they will say, this is what I've been told. It's changed now. You're old school. Things are different. But you know what? You think things are different, but deep inside, the body, the foundation of life is still there. It's been going on and on and on. So I'm tired of talking to young people in a way that, oh yeah, let me be nice.
Yeah,
let me soothe it for you. No, if it was a man, if a man comes to you and they said, oh, I'm feeling a bit depressed, you say, come on.
Man up.
Man up. So I've got to the point where if it's good enough for the goose, it's good enough for the gander. I'm taking no prisoners, no excuses. If a man can man up, a woman can man up. It's there for you. So I ain't got no excuses. You know what? Because I'm the exception. There's nothing that she ain't been through that I ain't been through 10 times worse. She was lucky. She come out of it without a child. I come out of it 17 years old with a child. And you know what? One child I've still got, 37 years old. And you know what? Everybody looked down on me. I didn't take no excuses. I was in an abusive relationship when I had my son. I got out of it less than a year. I got out of it with a child. I was on contraception because I'm an exception to every rule. So if I can do it, I put up notes. You ask me for advice, I'm going to give it to you. If you don't like it, piss off.
No, and
that's my view.
Your frustration right now is because of the rebellion. No, it's the rebellion.
I'm just annoyed at the fact that we're going over the same things over and over and over and over and over again, trying to make it nice for the young modern women. Life ain't nice. Life ain't nice. Life is character building. Whatever happens to you, spin it on its head and make it build you. Make you a stronger person. There's help out there. Go and get it. Everywhere you go. In England now, you watch a soap in England. They had a soap the other day about men because they now decided that men's mental health matters. At the end of every soap, and every English person will tell you, there's a phone number. If this has affected you or you have something similar, phone this number, you will get help. That is in England. So because all the help is out there, I don't want to hear it.
It's bullshit. No, instead they want to watch the Kardashians and Bad Girls Club, and they digest toxicity. And one of the things I would say, Aunt Jenny, you're correct, because one of the things I would say, and you guys have got to understand her perspective and don't take it as though she's been harsh or whatever. Like, we live in a very soft generation. Like, if you, I don't know how it was, I do know how it was in the UK, but if you understand what people went through in the US, I always bring up Meghan Markle compared to Ruby Bridges. Meghan Markle, they're going on the worldwide privacy tour complaining
because she's old school. But yet the men that I talk to, or the men that hear me, they phone me up. Oh, Auntie Jenny, can you give me some help? Can you advise me? I have had the men phone up the show, and then I've said, "Now you're fat."
Our society right now at the moment, we're on the topic of modern women. I think modern women.
10 years old.
Yeah.
And how old are you right now?
Okay.
And
all right, I probably could have skipped through a lot of that. Hold on. All right, I think we're about to get to it now.
I think a lot of our parents, for example, like my mum and dad was quite tough on me, but I think our generation is starting to learn more about like psychology and more about how people actually feel and how people should be treated. So we've got a bit more sensitive.
I have a very strong feeling on psychology. I think the more we learn about psychology,
the more crazy you become.
I think, yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, I say this. I'm getting my master's in psychology.
Yeah.
Not because I want it, but because I needed a visa. And I thought it would be easy, to be honest. It kind of is. Yeah, everyone in the program's crazy. I'm not saying there's exceptions, but literally they're all nuts. It's literally insane.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. But I actually disagree with you. I think that we need more tough love. I don't think everyone lies to women. Whenever men tell us what they want, society lies to us.
But she didn't say that.
What?
She said, did she say you need to be more sensitive to modern women? Or was I?
Yeah, she said.
Yeah, I did say that.
No.
I did say that.
No,
she said you need to be more sensitive.
With my father. So you have to understand, if you reach out for help, be prepared to receive. Can I say this to you? If you hit me up, my Instagram, I'll give it.
Hold on. Let me try to find this.
I'm serious. You see what I mean? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a game.
Wait,
You see what I mean?
I could have left a lot of.
Yeah, and I've said.
Listen, can I ask you?
Be more sensitive.
Yeah, and I've said.
Listen, can I ask you a question? So this happened at 17 years old.
Yeah.
And how old are you right now?
I'm 21. Generation, your parents were really tough on you, and I think a lot of our parents, for example, like my mum and dad was quite tough on me.
This is it, 100%.
But I think our generation is starting to learn more about like psychology and more about.
Okay, so everything that we just watched in the last video with Pearl talking about how she was groomed by her coach when she was in high school, and how she hated men because of it, and she was naive. That's all going to. This is where I wanted to talk about, relate that video to this.
How people actually feel and how people should be treated. So we've got a bit more sensitive.
I have a very strong feeling on psychology. I think the more we learn. That's what I said. I said we need to be tougher.
Yeah.
No, but she
didn't
said
say
we need to
tougher.
be
She
kinder.
said she wants you to be more sensitive.
Yeah, and I've said.
Listen, can I ask you a question? So this happened at 17 years old.
Yeah.
And how old are you right now?
I'm 21.
Okay, this happened 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you still consider yourself a victim of that?
No, I consider myself as someone who. Yeah.
No,
she said you need to be more sensitive.
The absolute opposite.
That's what I said. I said we need to be tougher.
Yeah.
No, but she.
I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared. I was going to do a different video, so I'm sorry. That's why it's jumping all around.
She said she wants you to be more sensitive.
Yeah, and I've said.
Listen, can I ask you a question? So this happened at 17 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old are you right now?
I'm 21.
Okay, this happened 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you still consider yourself a victim of that?
No, I consider myself as someone who survived it and somebody that, like, I feel like I could have done a lot of things better. I could have left a lot of times when I didn't leave, but I felt like I was just sort of sucked into like a cycle where I felt like I couldn't get out.
Can I just say something, young lady, right? What you need to do, right, is say to yourself, I'm a survivor, I'm not a victim. And that's the first thing. No, I'm serious. You see what I mean? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a game.
You see what I mean?
I'm not joking. No,
No, but
I'm
what I'm trying to say
I mean,
is
to be 4 years outside of the situation happening and it's still drawing tears out of you.
No, I mean, like, it
it
ended recently, as in, like, it started about 16,
Why were you in
17.
it for? You were in it for 4 years as an adult, and you didn't remove yourself from the
Off and on,
situation.
yes. And again, like I said, it's a mistake that I made.
That's why you need more tough love, because you've gotten panned.
She was in it for 4 years as an adult. She's 21, right? So 21, 20, 19, 18. She said she met him. She's known him since she was 15, and he was grooming her since 17.
You've gotten coddled through
But
it.
I didn't.
But you were in it for 4 years as an adult, and you didn't remove yourself from the
Off and on,
situation.
yes. And again, like I said, it's a mistake that I made.
That's why you need more tough love, because you've gotten pandered to, you've gotten coddled through
But
it.
I didn't.
That's why you stayed in
I
that
didn't
situation.
necessarily get coddled, because again, the only people that I was seeking
You needed a
advice
father
from,
to step into the situation and say,
do you know
"What are you doing?"
Yeah,
He's obviously not into you.
Yeah,
he's
no,
obviously
I'd
doing.
agree.
He's obviously right, but that's tough.
Why is he yelling at her about not having a father? Like, it's her fault. First of all, I feel like these people just get off on this shit. Like, they get off on the controversy. And it just bothers me because it's not helpful to anybody. It's not helpful for anybody. And I think it's disgusting that they did this to this woman, especially when Pearl has been through this exact scenario.
Love. So you don't need more of this. You don't need more babying. You need someone to step in and say, "This is what a man is. This is how a man should."
And Pearl had a father, by the way. And she was still groomed. So
act. And if he is not that version, then you need to go somewhere else. Modern women today have been lied to. And here's the thing is that, like, you guys want us to be truthful, but at the point that we're truthful, then you start crying. Then you start, with the victimhood. Then you start with these type of things. So oftentimes we just let y'all just go off. We just let y'all just do y'all thing. And then again, you're going to be single for the next couple of decades with a low-level barometer of hate for men.
I don't hate men, personally.
Can I ask you something? Because there's just something. So he would hit you? Is that what would happen?
I'd say it was a bit less physical. It did get physical a few times, but it was
by just him?
Emotional.
Or was it two-party?
Mainly him.
So, but you hit him too?
On one occasion, I hit him back, yes.
Okay.
But
was that the last occasion before
Did you
left?
call the cops on him?
Yeah.
You filed a police report?
I did, and I never actually pressed charges.
Why not?
Because at the time I still loved him, it sounds a bit weird. A lot of people don't understand that concept. But I genuinely still loved him, even though.
A completely normal thing, by the way. And now I'm not going to tell women that you shouldn't file a police report and you shouldn't call the police. Of course you should. But if you don't, I'm not going to sit here and blame you, because this is a completely fucking normal thing, and it's something that I completely understand. When you love somebody and you're in an abusive relationship, you understand that it's wrong. You understand you're being abused, right? We're not fucking brain dead. But you love this person and you're in a toxic, vicious cycle, and it's something that most abuse victims handle almost identically. So you're not crazy and stupid. The psychology of abuse. And it is completely normal. So, and again, this woman is 21.
Shit happened. Shit went on.
Do you think not pressing charges on him is a component of tough love, or is it a component of being coddled?
I think
it's a component of fucking psychology.
I loved him, even though shit happened. Shit went on.
Do you think not pressing charges on him is a component of tough love, or is it a component of being coddled?
I think it's more of a component of me being sort of a empathetic person. I try to see the good in people, even when they've done bad, because I've done bad things, and I still believe I'm a good person. So I believe that other people are good, yet they do bad things, and I feel like if I say, for example, I press charges on him, like he had a daughter as well.
I think it's also, I just want to point out too, a lot of these male, like, red pill and manosphere spaces love to bring up when women are abusive. And, you know, I guess they'll come back with the argument like, oh, well, if I call the cops, then I'm going to end up getting arrested. I guess, like, that could happen. But, like, Johnny Depp in his situation, he never called the cops on Amber. Amber Heard threw a vodka bottle at his finger, and it severed his finger. He had to get a skin graft. And he lied to the doctors and told them that he slammed his hand in his car door to protect his abuser, because that's what so many victims do. They protect their abuser. They lie about their injuries. They don't call the police. This is a completely normal thing that happens.
If I press charges on him, that's not just him going to prison.
But what if he hits her?
I know, exactly. And that's another argument. I could be stopping other people from going through that. But because again, like I said, I loved him at the time. I thought of it as like a knock-on effect that, okay, if I get him arrested, it's not only just him that I care about him. I don't want him to be in prison. It's his child that is going to be affected. And then it's just like a knock-on effect.
And I'm curious. I'm assuming when you guys were together, you didn't think you were groomed, right?
No.
So when did that switch for you? When did you decide you were groomed?
When I wouldn't say I decided I was groomed.
Well, you changed your mind on it.
Yeah,
right?
I'd say like when I left the relationship, I started.
That's what I'm talking about. When did Pearl disingenuously ask this woman when she decided she was groomed, when she switched her mind? We just watched that whole video of Pearl talking about how naive she was, how looking back in hindsight, she sees everything so differently. And then she has the audacity to fucking tell this woman that she decided she was groomed. This is what I'm talking about.
Reading a few books, and I started like looking into like
you saying like science stuff.
A little bit.
And he was how old again?
Well, he's currently 28.
If he was 22, would it have been grooming? If it was the exact same situation?
I mean, the thing is, I feel like you can sort of get groomed at any age.
So if he was younger than you, would it have been grooming?
No. See, I'm gonna be careful on what I say here because I don't want to say that. No, I don't want to say that, but I just feel like I don't want to speak too much on the situation because obviously this is going to be out there and I've got people that are watching and whatnot. So I don't want to speak too much on it. But I knew this guy from when I was 15. He emailed me a lot and then he'd sort of buy me gifts, butter me up, tell me that he'd be watching me in work when I was like 16 and shit like that, and then just sort of.
Sounds very similar to the comments that Pearl's coach was making about her, talking about her butt, telling her that she's gonna get so many guys liking her in college, talking to her about underage drinking, all of these inappropriate little conversations that they have. This is what groomers and predators do. And Pearl just, you know, despite having been through it herself, completely just acts disingenuinely here.
I don't want to say force me in a relationship, but...
Well, he didn't force you in a relationship.
No, like at the time I thought I wanted that relationship, and then afterwards I seen all the signs of like what he had done and how he had gone about it, and it all lines up to like grooming, in my opinion anyway.
Are there things you're willing to call out that are specific to grooming as opposed to just being a bad relationship with someone that you consider abusive?
No,
she was fucking 15. Okay, they started dating when she was 17. He was 20. Okay, so let's see. Let's do this math. He's 28 now. She's 21. So when she was 17, let's see, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. So he was 24 when she was 17. So he was 22 when she was 15. Sending her messages and buying her gifts and talking, like sending her inappropriate, or making inappropriate comments to her. Hello? Oh, God. It is, I think if you make a comprehensive video on this, it has strong potential to go viral. I'd like to hear Pearl's response to all of this. Thank you, Tiki Tak. Yeah, so I was going to, that was my original plan. I was going to make like a video and have all the, just like put it nice, neatly next to each other and like make it very clear. So I think I will go ahead and do that. I have more dirt on Pearl too coming up. I won't do that tonight. tonight's just going to be about this particular aspect of Pearl, but
there's a lot of specific things. Obviously, I'm no fucking, sorry for swearing, but I'm no like psychologist, and I'm no.
And the reason why I ask is because I think men today, and again, I don't know your situation at all. I'm just talking in general. A lot of men today have words that are weaponized against them when they were just bad guys.
Yeah, no, I
you know, like one of the big ones is toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
You know, because I am, you know, I have shitty components within my masculinity that is therefore toxic, right? And it's a word that's kind of weaponized, and then there's kind of this bad branding that trails them no matter what. And you know, again, I don't know the situation, but there's people that are watching that know you and that know him, and now they have a thought in their mind that he's a groomer. So that's why I ask is to...
No, the thing is, it's most other people that I spoke to about the situation that told me that. Like, I didn't realize until I had actually... Because when I'm in a relationship, I tend to keep a lot of things to myself. I feel like it's between me and that other person. It's nothing to do with anyone else. There may be a few issues here and there where I may seek advice. I may not exactly follow that advice, but I may just ask for other opinions. And... Again, somebody said before there may have been red flags that I ignored, and yeah, again, I'd say there was a lot of red flags that I ignored, but because I was so willing to commit to this man, I decided to stay in that relationship and endure what I endured because I thought I loved this person, but in reality, I felt like I was sort of I don't really know what to say anymore.
Can I add
honestly.
to this?
Yeah.
Like for me, I see where you're coming from and everything because, you know, I think a lot of people have gone through these things and they don't actually know they've gone through grooming.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, some people will suss out they will kind of evaluate your situations and see how close you are with your family or your friends and things like that. And that's kind of what makes it grooming because it's like if you're young and under the age of like 18, like 16 or so, and they're 30 and they know you don't have a good connection with your family, or maybe you even like maybe were homeless or grew up in care or things like that, and then they can appeal to things that you need because you've never had anyone, that can maybe come across as grooming. So then you look at these things.
Right? Because to me, like 15 is a bit like, you know, but I don't know. When I was 17, I knew what I was doing.
When Pearl was 17, she knew what she was doing. That's not what we just heard in the last video. No, it was not. When she was 18, she didn't even know that married men cheated on their wives, supposedly. This is what I mean. She is a fucking fraud.
Anyone that can maybe come across as grooming. So then you look at these things.
Right? Because to me, like 15 is a bit like, you know, but I don't know. When I was 17, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah,
like
no,
at 17, you know.
I'd say you know what you're doing, but what business does a 27-year-old man have to do with a 15, 16, 17-year-old?
I mean, is it 15, 16, 17? Or
I mean,
how
when I was 15, he was what? He would have been 24, and then onwards from there.
Wait, he started talking to you when you were 15?
Yeah.
Let's talk about how that's illegal. Is that
legal
here? It's definitely illegal in the States.
15's weird.
15
it wasn't. The thing is, it wasn't. He was talking to me in a sexual way. It was because again, like I said, I met this guy at work, so it was like in a friendly way. But looking back, I felt like he'd butter me up, like he'd be on my socials, complimenting me, like saying shit like, "One day I'm gonna wife you," shit like that. And I didn't see it weird. Yeah, like 15, 16.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
That's illegal.
And I didn't see it at the time, and I genuinely, I don't know. The first few years, it was obviously I got with him when I was 17. So it's not like I got with him when I was underage. I was like 17, 18 when I actually got with him and started dating him and whatnot. And again, like you said, Pearl, you know what you're doing at that age.
Well,
I don't sort of say I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
but again, I feel like I was in a vulnerable position and I got taken advantage of.
You were unwilling to make wise decisions at that age, up to 17 or whatever that situation, and it ended a year ago. Throughout that whole time, you were incapable of making great decisions regarding this relationship.
I'd agree.
So with that.
Yeah, because she was fucking 17, dude. Like, what? No shit. What 17-year-old is making wise decisions? I mean, sure, there's some perfect 17-year-olds that have like never made a mistake in their fucking life. But come on.
It does not need is more coddling. That needs tough love.
Can I just say something, right? She was working.
Huh?
She was working. You were old enough to work?
I have been in uni. I'm old enough to work, yes, but I have recently left jobs.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, when everybody's talking about the age when they got together, all I heard was they met at work.
Yeah, I was working a legal job, cash in hand, from 15 years old.
She was old enough to work. So she was old enough to fucking date a 20-plus-year-old man. A 24-year-old man. What? I've had a job since I was 14. And again, like I said, when I was 14, I was talking to a guy who was 22, who I like had a little crush on because he would say things to me that made me feel special and made me feel like I was so much more mature and smarter than all the other girls my age and blah, 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 blah. We would talk like every night on the phone. We were supposed to meet up. You know, we never did. But I thought it was kind of cool. I knew it was wrong because I was a minor and he was older, but I didn't fully understand because you can't. Only the person who's older, the adult, knows better. The young person does not. It's that simple. They don't have the experience or maturity. They might understand the concept, but they don't fully grasp it. So for them, all of these adults to be putting this on her, oh my God.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, all right then, if I go to a workplace, if you and me are going to work, right, and I see you at work, I'm obviously going to think you're an adult because you're working. I'm not making any excuses. Unless you told him, I am 15 years old.
I did tell him. And he told me you look 21 and you're mature for your age. Does that excuse it? I don't think it does.
No, I don't saying it excuses
Just because I'm working, it doesn't excuse it.
I'm not saying it excuses it.
It doesn't excuse it.
I'm not saying it excuses it.
No, but that's...
I'm not saying it excuses it. And this is what I mean about modern people. They always want you to be soft. And when you're trying to find out what happens, they always want to blame the men.
I'm not blaming men.
Because you're not letting me finish saying what I'm saying. You were there working illegally, right? So the first thing the guy could have seen was that you're underage, that you're of age because you're working. So, for a start, whatever your background was...
Do you know you can work from the age of 15, 16 as long as you have a national insurance number.
And your parents' permission. And your parents' permission.
And I had a national insurance number.
And your parents' permission.
So therefore...
Quote the whole law.
It doesn't matter.
And your parents' permission.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
To work underage.
Just because,
you need your parents... Did you have your parents' permission?
Yes, I did.
Right, so you had your parents' permission to work. So why couldn't you have parents' permission? If your parents gave you permission to work, why couldn't you go to your parents and say, this guy's talking to me and I'm underage?
Because you don't...
I'm sorry, I don't want to sound cliche here, but this is victim blaming. This is exactly what victim blaming is. Making every excuse for why she didn't do what she could have hypothetically done, even though she did what most people do in these situations because they don't know any better. This is just fucking crazy. I wonder what Auntie Jenny would have thought if she heard Pearl's grooming video. I'm really curious what she would have thought.
To your parents, but they gave you permission to work.
You don't know.
They gave you permission to work.
Not
What
necessarily.
I heard from Mr.
Like, what teeny... Like, do you think I told my mom when I was 14 that I was talking to a 22-year-old man? No. Obviously fucking not. No. Teenagers aren't talking to their parents about that stuff. Like, come on. Oh my god. This is fucking... They're calling her naive? These people are fucking naive.
MTR?
Yes, ma'am.
When you were first talking, and what I understood you was first going to say is that you can't come out here and call a man a groomer unless you've got evidence for it. You can't come out here and tell somebody something and call... I got that. And call somebody like, oh yeah, I can turn around and say my son's dad's an abuser. You know what? Because everybody knows it's been out there.
Because I've been falsely
I've taken him to court. It's been out there. I've got an injunction. It's been out there. But you're going to come on here and you're going to say all these things happen and then you're going to turn around and say, oh, I called the police. I could have gone to court, but I didn't press charges.
Okay, so is that...
So you did not press charges. He is an innocent man.
So does that...
You can't be sitting on social media.
I'm just going to cut you off at that point. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off at that point. I'm going to cut you off at that point.
That's where the disrespect comes in.
No,
I'm the adult. I'm older than you.
So you're trying to say I should respect my elders because you're not respecting me? I'm sorry.
I haven't finished talking, though. I haven't finished talking, though. That's where the respect comes in. I haven't finished talking, though. And that's a problem with modern women.
But I think modern women is modern women that I think you're disrespecting me, trying to tell me.
You're acting like a modern woman.
I'm acting like I am a modern woman. Obviously, I'm going to act like a fucking modern woman. I don't give a fuck.
Do you know what? I'm talking adult to child. I'm talking adult to child. And that's the problem. Because he was trying to say the same thing. You come on here and you're saying, obviously, like you said, the people know who he is. The people know who he is. So as far as they're concerned, He was in a relationship.
And the people already
He is
know.
now a groomer.
Because
he is now a
the
groomer
people
out there.
already know.
He is a groomer out there without a police record.
He has
He's
a police
groomer out
record.
there who hasn't gone to court for grooming her.
This is what I mean. You're speaking on something that you literally do not know.
You've
You're
just come
speaking on something that you don't know.
Has he been?
Listen, I'm not
Has he been to court?
I am not
what he's done to
disclosing.
you?
I am not disclosing.
Auntie Jenny is trying to say that because this woman has not taken this man to court and proven him as a guilty man, then therefore he's innocent and she is not allowed to share this experience. Only women or men, anybody who's been like abused or assaulted sexually or otherwise, unless they've taken their perpetrator to court, then, you know, they should just shut up about it because they don't have any evidence. And it's their fault at that point, which is fucking ridiculous because the amount of people that actually take their perpetrators to court is very small, and this is a very normal thing. And yeah, should we be trying to take more of these people to court and stuff? Yeah, but also these things are like hard to prove, and it's just a psychological thing. It's so normal that people don't want to go to court and go through all of this. Once they're done with an abuser, they just want it fucking out of their lives. And it is great if you can take these people to court, but I'm not going to blame somebody who doesn't. First of all, it costs money, too. Oh, my God.
Every what he's done to you.
I am not disclosing every issue.
You said you didn't press
faced.
charges. You said you didn't press charges.
And I told you.
So it's out there without any subsequent anything to do with you. So if he got any other...
Pearl didn't press charges. She gave us his name, where he works. But guess what? I don't care. I believe Pearl. I actually believe that what she said is true. She didn't show me any evidence.
Charges like that. It's not from what he's done to you.
But it is.
So you can't go out there and say, "Oh, I took him to court and I could have gone to court and I didn't press charges."
Babes.
Because if somebody does...
Hold on, just real quick, just to clarify. I'm not a believe all women person, okay? Women lie. Yes, there are false accusers. But I do believe in listening to people. And listening with a reasonable ear. So if you hear things that, like, I don't know. The point is we don't always need to make assessments and judgments all the time. It's a difficult and very in-depth conversation, but obviously people make up stories and lie, right? But yeah, I just think this point that Auntie Jenny here is trying to make is ridiculous. Let me rewind it a second.
He's been to court for what he's done to you.
I am not disclosing every issue.
You said
that
you didn't press charges. You said you didn't press charges.
And I told you.
So it's out there without any subsequent anything to do with you. So if he got any other charges like that, it's not from what he's done to you.
But it is.
So you can't go out there and say, "Oh, I took him to court and I could have gone to court and I didn't press charges."
Babes.
Because if somebody does something and you press charges, if they don't press charges, don't talk about the man. Don't talk about him on social media because people are going to be out there.
Do you know
I went to court with my son. I can talk about it because we went to court.
Do you know how many people commit crimes and do not go to prison for it?
And those are the people that should be talking about it. Those are the people when they commit crimes.
What does that mean?
When they commit crimes, if somebody commits a crime against you and you don't want to report it, shut up about it.
What if you're just not a snitch?
Then you deserve to get abused. Oh, yeah, I said it. I said it.
No,
I said it. I said it. If somebody's abusing you and you know that the police are going to stop you and you decide to sit there and you don't want to say nothing, well, then you ask for it.
No, that's
because you could have done something about it. You could have done something about it rather than be a snitch. So you don't want to be a snitch, but you want to sit here and be abused person.
No,
you want
I don't want to say I'm being abused person.
Being abused.
But
you're going to sit here and say he was a groomer.
It's like you trying to turn around to me and saying, right, I shouldn't tell you. I shouldn't tell people. I shouldn't tell people I got.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but I had an abusive relationship. I was in an abusive relationship. I had an abusive boyfriend. He had bipolar, and he was on probation. And I loved him. So if I called the police, he would be violating probation, and he would go to jail. And I didn't want to lose him. So, sure, is that stupid of me? Sure. But that's just how the psychology works. And many people do this all the time, especially when you're young. It's not. And then also, she's saying that this man had a child, which I'm sure, I again, this is speculation, but I don't doubt that he was holding that over her head. Like, if I go to jail, you're gonna take away my child from me. My child's gonna grow up in the foster care system. It's not just me you're hurting, right? Did you come from a broken home? My parents separated when I was 11, and my dad ended up getting caught up with drugs and crime, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess so. I was mostly raised by a single mom. He kind of like really fucked up our family. He took a lot of money, committed fraud, and he was doing drugs, and he emptied out like my personal bank account. He put my mom into a lot of debt and stuff like that. So like, he's apparently clean now, and like we talk, kind of. We like see each other on holidays and stuff. So I guess you would say a broken home, but he was in my life till I was 11. But he worked a lot when I was younger. He was a construction worker, so he was like very tired. But I had a really good, normal, early childhood. But my parents did fight a lot. They're nothing abusive, but my dad's just like very like emotionally detached. He's not very in touch with his emotions.
Hit by a bus and I got brain damage because it's a bad thing to say.
Would you say something like, would you take the bus company to court?
Wait, no.
Would you take the bus company to court?
It's a little bit different than that because it's three sides to every story.
Come on to me and saying, right, I shouldn't tell people I got hit by a bus and I got brain damage because it's a bad thing to say.
Would you say something like, would you take the bus company to court?
Wait, no.
Would you take the bus company to court?
It's a little bit different than that because it's three sides to every story. He's going to have his own explanation.
Of course.
If he was described the situation, do you think he would describe himself as a groomer?
No. But
do you think if you were to ask a fucking pedophile if they're a pedophile, that they would describe themselves as a pedophile? What kind of fucking question is that?
It is immoral, though.
No.
There's a what?
It is immoral.
I don't think you would.
For
And just
a
because
24-year-old to go for a 15-year-old.
Just because he wouldn't say that,
the
it
story
doesn't.
that she's telling us based off of
No,
things
but
that she's recounting it.
When she was 16?
No.
See, he might then say, well, I didn't know she was
legal
working
at
at a spot,
16.
and I thought you had to be 18 years old
It
to work
doesn't
at a
matter
spot,
if it's legal,
and I didn't know
it's
what her
still
age
immoral.
was. I mean, there's always
Just
going to
because
be
it's
multiple
legal,
sides
it
to the
doesn't
story.
mean it's
The
moral.
whole point is we're going off of what she says.
Right. And he doesn't have a platform to talk about it.
But I don't know you, right?
Of course. I could absolutely be chatting shit right now.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
But the thing is, it doesn't.
If you filed a police report and you showed us a police report, it's different.
This happens. She's not the only one who's done this. Like, girls will come on the show, and this is why it was on the list, because girls come on the show, and it's the same story. Oh, he abused me, and they're always with him for multiple years. It's never just 1 year. Like the first time I got hit, I left. It's always multiple years. You could have your reasons for doing that, but to me, if someone's hitting me in the face,
I'm out.
I'm getting the fuck out of there, and I'm calling the police. That's just me. So,
you don't know though unless you're in the situation.
No, I know. I don't
like
been in this
I'm out. If a chick cheat on me, I'm out.
I've been in this situation. There's guilt tripping. There's a lot of other fucking shit that goes on, and I just think that.
I understand. Okay, but and so then I asked, did you file a police report? And oftentimes the answer is no. And so then we're going to a point where she can say he did this, this, and this.
I have the evidence.
And wait, I don't. You might have evidence.
I have
okay,
I have police logs, reports.
I'm not
everything.
talking about you.
Okay.
I'm talking about the point.
Okay.
And so the point is that many men get accused of crimes they did not commit, and when there is no evidence and no police report. I don't know your personal situation.
Oh, like you, Pearl? Like exactly like what you did? Interesting. Do you go to therapy? I do not currently go to therapy. I also don't have insurance, so.
But it's weird to me that you were there for multiple years and you didn't press charges and you just continued to stay and get hit, because if someone hits me in the face, I'm going to the police.
Right, so me personally, I wasn't there for multiple years. It was about a year.
You said 17 to 21.
No,
you said 50.
I had a therapist when I was younger for about maybe 2 years when I was 13, because I ran away from home and the police like mandated it. They were like, I don't know if it was just kind of like a fake like threat, but they were like, you could go to juvie or go to therapy, and then we won't send you to juvie for running away. Which, like, I don't even know if that's a real thing, like, looking back now. But, yeah, I had to go to therapy when I was a kid. My therapist was great. Yeah, he was awesome. But
15 to 20.
No, I'm saying he was grooming me from 15 to about I was 17 years old. And then that's...
Oh, and just to clarify, I didn't run away from home because, like, my home life was, like, toxic or anything. I was just, like, crazy. And I wanted to, like, go on an adventure, pretty much. I also was, like, fed up with, like, personal things going on in my life. There was a lot of, like, bad things happening in my personal life, but had nothing to do with my family life.
When things started getting...
And
further on.
Well, I'm telling you, and so
but I'm not saying that. Sorry, no, I know what you're saying is. Again, it reiterates my point before why I got upset about the list, because some women turn around and say, I've been abused, I've been raped, I've been this, I've been that, and it makes the actual victims look bad, and the actual victims not want to report it because you feel like you're doing something wrong by reporting it. And especially if you've got someone in the back of your ear saying, don't report me, I've got a daughter, I don't want this to go wrong, I don't want that to go wrong. Like, you love this person and this person is telling you all sorts. It's hard for you to do that.
So if you're not going to report it, then why would you go around telling everybody?
I don't go around telling everyone. It just came up in the situation.
No. You're going to report it on a podcast for everyone to listen to. Why don't you report it to the police where change can be had?
What's the police going to do apart from put him on the sex offenders list and give me a restraining order?
Protect other women out there.
I have a restraining order.
Protect other girls out there. Protect my grandchildren and his cousin and her sister and everybody, all the other females out there.
So, yeah, this video is just about over, but I just think this is just awful, how they handle this situation, and especially Pearl, you know, considering after the video we just watched of her talking about getting groomed by her own coach when she was in high school, and then him trying to sleep with her when she was 18. But, you know, she knew what she was doing when she was 17, apparently. So, yeah, I think I will make this into some kind of video this week and put that out there. Let me see if this has anything else.
Yeah, that's what you're doing when you report something like that. You're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about everybody around you and everybody around him. You're protecting everyone else. Once you let an offender go, you're leaving it for him to abuse everybody else.
To the full extent of the law.
Do you know what? I don't disagree with you on
that. He's done these things, he needs to be held.
Dude, she was like 20. At her oldest, she was 20. Like, they are putting so much on this girl right now. It is actually crazy.
Completely and utterly accountable.
And this is how men think when they're talking to you and when they hear these stories. Like, there's so many men that have had false allegations against them. Like, most men know someone that was falsely accused.
I've been falsely accused.
So this might be harsh to hear, but I'm telling you, when they listen to these stories, they think, oh shit, she might be lying. She might do that to me because there's no evidence to back her up.
And here's the thing. And I've been falsely accused, and a police report was not filed because she was lying. She was lying.
Okay.
At the end of the day, she was a liar because she knows that if she filed a police report and let's say it went to court and went to jury, it wouldn't have stood up because She completely made it up out of thin air.
Well, guess what? Lots of people who aren't lying and do file police reports still lose their cases. Buddy.
And the evidence would not have shown exactly the things that she was saying at that particular juncture because her feelings made it feel like something that happened. Or her back was up against the wall.
In that moment. And everything that all of you guys are saying right now, it holds weight. It's validity to that. And it just brings us back to the topic of women not being held accountable and being able to go around saying whatever. That is not saying that your story isn't true or anything of that nature. But personally, this is still very raw for you. And a person has to be in a place where they are ready to hear the valid points that are being given, right? The wisdom that Unjini is sharing, even the points that Melody is saying about coming to her and being a mentor.
Oh, the fucking wisdom of if you're old enough to have a job, you're old enough to be groomed by a 24-year-old when you're 15. What fucking wisdom. Thank you for that light that you've just shed upon us all.
Place where you can receive that, because right now in the moment you are still defending the situation, even though your heart isn't to defend it. Your heart is defending your feelings and emotions. You can receive that because right now.
Okay.
Not saying, yeah, exactly.
Because you're being triggered.
No, I'm not
and
saying
you can't receive it, and that's fine. But I need you to realize where you are, right? Because even your response to this is still defensive, and it's nothing wrong with that. But you have to sit in that, because everything that went forth today was wisdom, and it is a different perspective, and it's challenging you right now because all of your emotions are trying to just.
All of her emotions. She's getting defensive. Yeah, again, this is just ridiculous. I think I'm done with this video. So yeah, there's that. There was that. Let's see. What's this?
Good, how are you? I'm good. I had a couple of questions for you.
Okay, so there's two
things. Go right ahead.
Other videos I
Sexy
wanna
Red
play
TV, go right ahead.
that are related to this topic. One is 6 minutes long and one is 8 minutes long. So we're gonna watch these, and then I'm going to. Oh wait, hold on. This one might be good too. How long is this?
Is it wrong?
Okay, we're gonna watch this instead. This is 7 minutes, so we're gonna watch this. Actually.
For what age do I want to do? Is it wrong for what age do I want to do? A 32-year-old man to date an 18-year-old?
No.
Nope.
No.
I judge him for it.
Okay.
No.
All right. If anyone said, raise your hand if you think yes.
All right. I'm going to raise my hand.
No, I need a yes or no. Yes or no. Come on, you got to pick one.
Okay, so what she just said, is it wrong for a 32-year-old man to date an 18-year-old? And again, this is after the video of Pearl talking about her experience being groomed in high school by a man who was in his late 30s, who tried to sleep with her when she was 18. So she was 18 when he finally tried to sleep with her. Oh, I got another super chat from Tiki Tac. Oh, thank you. Is it a sticker? I don't see any words. So, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Oh my god, my cat. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I'm gonna put in some work this week and make this video because I think this is actually really interesting. So I really appreciate the support. Sorry I get awkward when I'm like receiving gifts. But thank you so much. Okay. So yeah, Pearl. Here, I'm just gonna start over. Here we go.
Is it wrong for what age do I want to do? A 32-year-old man to date an 18-year-old?
No.
Nope.
No.
I judge him for it.
Okay.
No.
All right. If anyone said, raise your hand if you think yes.
All right, I'm gonna raise my hand.
Nah, I need a yes or no. Yes or no. Come on, you gotta
Everyone
pick one.
grows up at different ages.
Okay.
You're welcome to
It
message.
depends what she looks
Okay.
What?
Depends what she looks like.
Thank you
She
again.
looks, I don't know, an 18. Some of them look like they're 18 when they're 13.
That's trouble. But,
You know it's true on TikTok.
But you kind of got to put it in context because you're like, how old did you say he was?
He's 32. She's 18.
All right, at 32. When you sit down with an 18-year-old, what are you talking about? Like, what is she like? No, for real. Like, generally, what is she offering you? Like, and
I mean, if she's okay, I mean,
so you're.
you want to
A uterus to have a baby.
I feel, yeah, you're just talking about one dimension, and I look at you and I'm like, all right, you as a man.
Let's say you have stuff in common.
Indeed, she is.
Let's say like maybe you're into the same stuff. Maybe they're both gamers. I don't know.
Okay, and that's that's what off the top of my head. I'm like, it's not in of itself wrong, but I do raise an eyebrow at it because I do wonder, like,
you question the guy a little bit.
I question the guy a little bit. Like, what do you like? Because all right, and he's seriously dating, or is he just having fun? Like in your scenario.
Let's say seriously dating.
Okay, so you've looked at this 18-year-old.
He's looking for a wife.
All right, cool. And so I'm here and I'm like, so in this 18-year-old who is like a few years off from being a child, you're like, in you, I see a partner and someone I want to build and someone I want to model my potential daughters after. All of that really. And I'm like, bro, like, off an 18-year-old?
I think it kind of depends though.
Like,
if she's like someone that's been like working out doing like living by herself, independent, then you kind of, because a lot of women mature a lot quicker as well. Like,
but I don't
you
think they mature,
like you could have an
like-
18-year-old that literally acts like a 25-year-old. You wouldn't even know any difference.
Completely.
Yeah, no,
So it depends, innit? Like some 18-year-olds are in uni.
Yeah,
and they're basically kids.
Yeah,
and
that's
some
what I'm
aren't.
thinking. It's like,
So
you're right.
It kind
it
of
does
depends
depend.
on the
That's why I struggle to put my hand up on it. It does
the same in
depend.
the
Yeah, but it's like, it's because sometimes you're like, oh, she's 18 and she's in uni and she's only lived with her parents and she's coming out and you're visiting her dorm in uni and you're
that's all
a
mad.
big man. Like, I'm just like,
Maybe
she's got her own
maybe she's
place.
18. She wants a family. Maybe she's 18.
yeah, but
she
that
wants to be a
doesn't-
mother.
Okay, but
at
that's
18.
still the same dimension we're talking about. Looks and fertility. That's it? That's what you pick your
No,
partner
I
on?
said they
Like,
got something in common. That's what I
Okay,
said.
yeah.
I said they got something in common.
They got something in common. I just struggle with the idea that an 18-year-old girl in uni is stimulating your mind and spirit. Like, and if she is, I kind of
I just think like when I was 18 versus 21, like I wasn't that different. Like I'm just thinking like men.
Hold on, did we hear that? I'm gonna rewind it again so we can hear her say the full sentence. But she said when she was 18 versus 21, she wasn't that different, like mentally. This is definitely going to be included in that video, like juxtaposed next to her saying she was naive, looking back, she was dumb, she didn't understand how inappropriate it was to have these conversations, right? This is what I mean. She's full of shit. That video, I don't know if I can find a date on it, but she did say in the video she was 24. So I'm pretty sure in these videos she's 25 or 26. So this is only a year, 2 at most, after her making the Why I Hate Men video, which tells me that she's just a fraud and she's grifting straight up and lying.
18 versus 21, like I wasn't that different. Like I'm just thinking like mentally, I don't think I was that different at 18 from 21.
I don't think there is that much difference.
Yeah, and no one would really bat an eye at 21.
No, I moved out when I was 18 and I was working, so I was, pretty much a full-grown adult at 18.
All right, Dinelva, tell me why. Why is it now? And then you go next.
Why it's a problem for an older man? I think it's really down to the different stages of emotional maturity and growth. When you're 18, although yes, you can be mature and this and that, but you've not experienced how many extra 14 years extra of life that he has experienced. He has that over you. And I think that it's not about manipulation. It's just about the fact that there'll be a certain moment in both of their lives where you're just going to realize we're not on the same level. We're not in the same frequency, and that's really important. That's
what
why.
do you mean in the same? Because a lot of times we use these words. I don't even know what they mean. This in the same frequency.
Yeah, the same frequency,
Okay.
meaning like, okay, when you're now 40, I'm just about to turn 30. In like every 5 years, I feel like every 5 years I go through quite a lot of change. You know, you, especially then with decades, you look back on your life and you think about so many things, you reflect, and your mind may.
I personally feel like from 17 to 24, almost every year was like vastly different for me. Like just where I was at in my headspace. I feel like I had learned so much more in just a year, from the ages of like 17 to maybe like 23. I just feel like everything was changing so fast, and the maturity like hits so rapidly. Every year you feel like you were a complete idiot the year before, and you know so much more now. And now the next year, I didn't know anything when I was, you know what I mean? Like when I was 19 and I'm 21, like I didn't know anything when I was 19, and then you're 23. I didn't know anything when I was 21. Like that's how I personally felt. I know some people are different, but I just feel like those are such transformative years for a lot of people.
Change. That's why you can see the difference between a 20-year-old woman and a 30-year-old woman.
And that's why, like, after a certain age, the age gap doesn't really mean as much. Like, I think like a 35-year-old and a 45-year-old dating isn't like that big of a deal. But when you're talking about a 25-year-old and a 15-year-old, like obviously that's a huge deal. They're still just 10 years away, but it's like a curvature.
So I just think it's a bit dangerous when you're kind of dealing with somebody that's so far away from where you're at your age. So for example, for me, that's why I say I'll date somebody that is younger than me by 2 years max, and max 5 years older, because I don't want it to be too far away.
Do you think
Feels
that like
better.
limits your pool a little bit?
I think that at this point I'm more just looking for the right person. And from what I know about myself, I feel like what I need is that limit.
Okay. What do you think?
Yeah, I think an 18-year-old, obviously there's different kinds of 18-year-olds, but they've got a lot of experiences to go through. I think 32 is a bit old. I think like 28, 29 is fine, but why would a...
That's even weird.
And maybe you guys can answer, you men. Why would a 32-year-old want an 18-year-old? Is it just because she's more likely to be a virgin, and is that the main reason why you would go for one? Because I wouldn't like be like, but I'd be a bit confused. Like, why wouldn't you go for someone who's maybe like mid-20s or like even 21? Like, what's the reason?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's
wouldn't.
wild, to be honest.
I wouldn't, like legit, so I can't.
Can I just make a side note on this? Not that I agree with the 32 and the 18-year-old, but I feel like it comes down to the individual.
Yeah.
I've come across 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds that are...
Oh, that's funny, because any other time on this show we speak in generalities. We never talk about individuality on these types of red pill shows, ever. It's always generalities, and the exceptions don't make the rule, and yada, yada, yada. And we never talk about individualism, which is something that I strongly believe in. But now when we're talking about, 30 men in their 30s sleeping with 18-year-olds, we want to talk about it comes down to the individual. Interesting.
in many cases less mature than 18-year-olds. So, and I think it goes both ways, irrespective of your gender. But what was your question? Just in terms of
I
like,
just
why?
wanted to know what would be the reason for that. Would it just be because she's likely to have less bodies? Is that the main reason?
If I could jump on that, cool. Because like initially, when I do think of it, 30 to 18, yeah, that is a pretty big like gap, and I would like look at it a type of way. But I feel like if we come to a common agreement on what a guy is usually looking for and what a girl is usually looking for, they kind of meet each other where they need. You know what I mean? Because I'm hope you guys can agree as well. But you know, men I value beauty and I value youth, fertility. So if I'm at the age of 32, sure, I could go with someone 25, 26. But I think like nowadays, most of those women already, they're very like career driven. They have like this boss babe mentality. So I feel like they're going to be way more combative than the 18-year-old. Because I feel like if she comes into this...
18-year-olds aren't combative? That's interesting. I mean, I kind of understand what he's saying, but like, I don't know. I think I'm much more rational. I was much more rational in my mid-20s than I was as a late teen.
Space. She's going to value that I reached this point, and then she's going to be...
All right, so that's the end of that video. I have a couple other like little videos, but I think I'm just gonna end it here, and save the rest. Let me see what
power trip comes involved, and you know, and that sort of sense. So I think it is kind of manipulation to a certain extent. For me personally, I just think at 30, what you want at 35 compared to what you want at 19 are two completely different things, I think.
I just think life's about choices and trade-offs. And if you choose to get it with a guy on that level, like you're kind of on his platform. It's not like power and manipulation if you make that choice.
Yeah, but I think
because you can get a guy who there's so many simps.
Yeah.
God, there's so many. You could have a simp that lets you do whatever you want. But if you want a guy that's worth something and that's in that percentage of guys, like you have to get on his program. And those men prefer women that are impressionable. I don't think that's a bad thing.
But I think at 19, I think a lot of it is probably materialistic. What you want from a guy in terms of, oh my gosh, at 19, oh, he has money, he drives a car, You're looking at the material things, whereas when you're a bit older, you're not looking at the material things. You're looking at the kind of, you know, what can we build together? And I think at 19, to go for a man who's 35 years old, it's kind of like what you said, the men's looking for sex and the woman's looking for money and that security and the materialistic things. Is that a genuine relationship? In my personal opinion, I don't think it is.
In the West, I would agree with you. That's true. Like women at that age. But like if you go to more traditional countries, like girls at a younger age are more likely to, I don't know. They look for different things. It's really interesting to talk to people from like Muslim cultures and like where they just get married a lot younger and they look for like the family guy.
100%. But I even think even in the Western culture, if we go back 30, 40 years, a lot of our parents and grandparents, they were married and had babies.
Said anything like that to me, like they would have waited.
You are naive. You think you know what you want, but do you really?
Really? My grandparents, like they never said anything like that to me. Like they would have waited. Like they just had a ton of kids and they're happy.
Yeah, I think the odd few, I'm not saying everyone's unhappy. Yeah. The odd few you are probably happy and it's worked out amazing. But for some people, they could still even be in those happy relationships, but feel like they've missed out on an element of their life where now they're looking at women in like who are 19 to even 29 these days, and you know they're living their life, they're doing what they want to do. And I think you know from not everyone, but from a couple of people that I've spoke to from the older generation, they do feel like they've missed out on that element.
Would you say we have it better now?
I think there's pros and cons to now.
About elements of learning from older generations for sure. I think because
why does it always have to be in a negative connotation? He's
just a genuinely good person, and everything you described, I have no problem with it. Okay. But you know,
even with the comment that
because we have to look at it as Andrew.
And to be 50 years old when you're not. Like
no. So your experience is limited, but your dictates how whatever I think you.
But there'll always be elements. Like you can't pretend to be 50 years old when you're not. Like
talented musicians might be children, 5, but he sometimes goes around acting like he is like 18, 19.
It's true, but
say experience, maturity. Well.
You
know what they say. Yeah. You know what they say about women as like they stop maturing as soon as they get pretty. And then they start again once it goes away.
That's savage. Fenty.
Let's do the next clip. Blessing.
Can we connect that?
He's not dating 18, 22.
Yeah.
You hear he's got another 22-year-old.
Yeah, but everyone's giving him a lot of, you know, and I'm like,
he's not dating 18, 22.
Yeah, but the thing I had a problem with is that it's like. There seems to be this element of like, oh, he's someone.
I'm like,
I wouldn't agree with that fully.
I just feel like I just feel like it's an excuse. Like you make decisions.
There are definitely things I would definitely not do again if I could go back 10 years to 7 years.
But I think everyone could say that,
Right.
regardless of how mature or experienced they are. Everyone regrets certain decisions that they've made.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I know my, like, even the whole, like, you've said on other podcasts you've always known yourself. I think you can feel that way, but if you had a chance, like, put yourself in a situation, go back 10 years. 18 into the club, you want XY, like, it seems like a double standard, or like a want to have your cake and eat it too situations.
Like, I Ben knew what I was doing since I was 16. I feel like
There it is. I knew she said something stupid here. Did you guys catch that? She said, I feel like I know what I've been doing since I was like 16.
Want to have your cake and eat it too situations.
like I Ben knew what I was doing since I was 16. I feel like anything that when they're like, oh, I didn't know when I was 16, I'm like,
I wouldn't agree with that fully.
I just feel like I just feel like it's an excuse. Like, you make decisions.
There are definitely things I would definitely not do again if I could go back 10 years to 7 years.
So
But I think everyone could.
So yeah, I have essentially a bunch of clips of Pearl saying things along the lines of this. Like, she knew what she was doing since she was 16, and it's just an excuse. And then, you know, we go back to the video where she's talking about getting groomed and she was naive and didn't know what she was doing. And she looks back in hindsight and realizes it was so inappropriate and she was getting groomed, blah, blah, blah. So I think I'm going to go through all of these and make some kind of video and put all this together. Yeah, I wonder what changed her mind, or if she's just fitting in with the red pillars. I think it's the latter. I think she is just grifting and just trying to stick to the red pill talking points. I literally don't think it's anything more than that. I think it's literally just all a grift, and she's a fraud. And I think it's kind of disgusting because, I don't know, like, these are real issues that are more common than, like, most people, I guess, would assume. And she kind of just, like, is selling her soul a little bit for the money. And the weird part is like, she didn't even need the money. Like, she was already rich. She could have made a channel about anything. Like, her dad gave her like a big grant to start up a channel. So it's not even like she had to really work her way to the top. Like, yeah, you have to work for the views and stuff, but it helps a lot when you have like a huge production company already behind you, and you can advertise and stuff like that. So I just find it really disgusting. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna end it here. And again, I have more dirt on Pearl. It's on a different subject than this. Oh, on this note, what Tiki Tac just said too, it's probably for attention and ego. I also largely agree with that, and I think she kind of mentioned that herself, and in that first video when she was talking about how she didn't get a lot of attention from boys in high school, and she was kind of like you know, the girl that didn't get a lot of attention, and it obviously affected her. Well, now she's getting a lot of attention from men, certainly a lot of positive attention from men, and I think this was her way of doing that as well. So, and to be honest, that makes more sense because, like I said, she didn't need the money. What she needed was attention from guys, I guess, and this is how she did it. So that's kind of my theory about it all. So yeah, I'm gonna cut up all these clips. I have a couple more too to go through and put them into a digestible I don't know why that word's sounding funny now. Video. And put that out there. So I'm gonna work on that this week. And I do have more dirt on Pearl as well. So maybe I'll just put that into a video too and put that out there as well. It's about a different subject. But luckily I saved all these videos because they're all gone now. She's like deleted all the content from her channel. So good thing I saved them and I still have them. So yeah, thank you guys for being here tonight. I know it was kind of a roller coaster because my first video got kicked off. And thank you again so much for the support and the super chat, Ticky Tack, and just for watching and being here. I really appreciate it. Will you watch the Jubilee video on Twitch only next time? I don't stream on Twitch, so probably not. I'm just like not a Twitch person because I don't like to overly watch what I say and the content I watch, and I feel like Twitch like bans people really easily. I also just like I'm not very familiar with Twitch, so I don't know. Unfortunately, I might not just be able to cover that video, but I'll find another political genre video to cover soon because I was in a politics mood tonight, but I think this ended up working out. So again, thank you everyone for being here. Thanks for your support, and have a good night. I'll see you guys next time.